Welcome to the new year for the Cortex Group, and we are looking at Rise of an Empire, episode 14.
That's right.
14.
You will see that there's been a slight change in the way that we're doing things. To this side, we have Talbot and we have Devin, who will be reprising their roles as Ulmakor.
Ulmakor.
No.
He's Ulmakor.
Ulmakor.
Not Ulmakor.
14 weeks of playing him and you can't remember Caradak.
And your Caradak stroke Grombrindal, the diseased. And we have had, you've been introduced through online, but you've never seen him before, so please welcome in his physical manifestation, Holt.
As opposed to
Finally.
transcendental, metaphysical,
Yeah.
all-encompassing.
Holt will be playing a character that is introduced now, is Grim.
Yes. Very grim.
One of the Dawi, the dwarfs of some said mountain range. But yeah, so ultimately, episode 13 finished at the season break just before Christmas, and with it we had the ambush that was not to be in the Brackenwald even, where we saw that the Hag Mother had been slain. Buso, the leader of the Vaktori, with the Scimitar and a unit of Vaktori actually in the Brackenwald waiting to ambush, attack and slay the king, the queen, and obviously by default the unborn child and the bodyguard. Through physical and scrying checks, he decided that it would be insane. There seems to be no benefit.
Pointless to want to go and also because Buso is becoming more and more other than Buso. Like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, and Ulmakor obviously had a vision of Buso being something.
And Halfgrim, the Soviet, looking absolutely terrified, which takes a lot to terrify a Soviet.
Absolutely.
So, no, I don't think we need to go there. Particularly as the Hag Mother was no more seemed to have been consumed. I don't know what value we were going to get.
Yeah, the Vaktori and Scimitar are not known for, maybe the Scimitar, but the Vaktori are not known for consuming people, never mind the Hag Mother.
No,
an element of primordial power.
So all of those stacked up with, look at this, goodness, is that the time?
Yeah.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen this. It's the next swamp, and we'll leave it there.
And of course, the last part of that is that you don't think of the, from what you understand of Halfgrim and of the Vaktori, even Buso would have been a match for the Hag Mother, but yet clearly they were.
Clearly more than a match for it, and more than a match for the denizens in the area who don't seem to even want to go anywhere near them, even though they've just replaced the power in this area. All of this points to the fact that
no, it would be insane.
No.
Ulmakor, Caradak unfortunately was injured. A minor injury, but a long-lasting one, dilapidating to say the least. He was struck across the neck and back, and it seemed to be that it was one of the creatures of the Brackenwald, and it's had a bit of a side effect on Caradak. So Caradak spent a lot of time in the form of Grombrindal, which is obviously brought upon by the gift from Ronald, and as and when possible you try to arrest this disease that's
trying to treat it,
yeah.
But it seems to be it doesn't seem to want to be subject to my administrations. It won't heal. It doesn't seem to be getting any worse in between the healing sessions, but it's not
getting any better.
Not getting any better.
So, we've deliberately moved from the introduction of Caradak and Ulmakor with Grim. It's a tale to be told or read at a later time.
Purchased at a very fine price from Netflix and Amazon.
The unfinished tales.
The unfinished tales.
Untold tales.
The unfinished untold tales.
Yes.
Just a blank page with stuff happened.
In which case, the episode 14 begins with several months have passed. You have been in the Grey Mountains and moved into the Black Mountains and are heading towards where Ulmakor's vision of the Heavenstone, where it impacts within the mountain range itself. The Grim is your guide within the mountain ranges. and ultimately, you were driven by the vision and direction. Actually, Tal told you directly: find the stone, get it to the High King of the Dwarven people, for it will be crafted into a weapon that will bring the peoples of the tribes of man and the Dwarf people together to stand against a common enemy. So months have gone by. You are in deep into the Black Mountains, which are thick with snow, a constant wind. These mountains are
These mountains are very, very high, tricksy.
These mountains are a natural border between the realms of man itself and their original migration point to the south, when they were, the tribes came north to avoid the greenskin hordes effectively. These mountains are, I suppose, old, but what's specific about the Black Mountains is that they are incredibly treacherous. There are, in between the peaks itself is this wide tundras of snow, the windswept. They are inhospitable in every way possible. They are basically they go against any sort of sense of life or any chance of taming them. They are very wild mountains, ancient and cracked and quite high up. You've been inside this mountain range for several weeks now, heading east, continuing, following Grimm's long, arduous days effectively. You are numb, you are wrapped in fresh hides against the weather. The dwarves knew where you were going, and they prepared you as well as can be. However, the going has been very hard on you. Perversely enough, Grimm seems to be completely unmoved by it. He didn't seem to wear any protective layers, no hides of any kind, and seems to have this indomitable endurance.
And not showing any signs of actual physical damage, despite the fact he might be toughing it out. It's not actually having an effect on him.
No. His Mohican and beard is ice crusted.
Fine.
But he shakes it off. He does seem to have some knowledge of these mountains, and you have been fortuitous enough to find places of respite from time to time. Several days were spent in a cave when the snows and the winds just got too much, and you were just not able to venture forth. There has been two ambushes which have been sprung by you as opposed to being sprung by the Vaktori.
Right.
And you've come away. On one side, from your point of view, no doubt that Caradak, you've been slaying the Vaktori now.
These were full talons, or they were just small?
No, small, seemingly scouting groups.
Right.
There is a sense that they are being given direction. There's no way that they could be ahead of you the last two ambushes, which they have been, but you've had no choice but to walk into them. But being aware of them, you've sprung them, and in this cold, they are very much as weakened as you are. But unfortunately for them, Grimm isn't, as he's waded into them. But on both occasions, they've come close. They are very good. They are highly trained, but they are slow. They've been numbed by the cold, and they're in a treacherous environment. As this day goes on, you aren't so much travelling by day or night, as there doesn't seem to be a respite at night or during the day. The temperatures don't rise. It's just a numbing, cold, miserable climb up and down these mountain ranges, and moving through these trails that only seemingly Grimm can see. You know that he's explained that the next resting point is up ahead, and he's definitely within view, but there is a bit of a gap as he wades his way through the snow, obviously a lot deeper than you will. But of course, Grombrindal is also experiencing the sort of snowdrift as much as he does, I suppose, but he's not dealing with it as well. You are coming up to a cave. It's a wide, natural forming opening in the mountain face itself. A good sort of 10, maybe 15 foot across, but only scant sort of 4 or 5 foot in height. the approach is it's difficult, simply because you're coming to the end of your ability. Whereas in the forest, you can move for, you know how to travel through it. Very quickly, you find that moving through these snowdrifts in this icy wind, it saps what strength you are able to gain. And each day or each period of movement is getting less and less, and you are feeling that.
So we're toiling and labouring
Yeah.
through this stuff and not really. It's
not getting easier.
Yes.
So numb and exhausted, you see this. You are almost climbing hand over, on hands and feet, as you come across this rocky outcrop. You've had to wrap straps of leather around your hands to keep them from the biting cold, but also from the jagged rocks to stop the cuts on your hands. But even then, you found that your hands are more calloused than they have been. Up ahead, Grim, as you approach the mountain, this cave, you are aware of the fact, like I suppose, in the sense that this wind and this cold doesn't really, there's not much in the sense of scent that comes across in the breeze. It's just this wind biting chill. Your beard has literally been swept to the left. You're storming forward as this ice is pelting into you. But even these conditions, as you close on the cave, do not hide the foul stench of some creatures, or either in or have been here. You know the smell is specifically one that reminds you of the east and the Peak Pass. You know the smell of greenskin, the foul stench of their habitat when they've holed up somewhere for long.
Yeah.
You see up ahead the trudge of Grim pauses for a moment as he surveys the cave. It's the first time he's stopped before just barreling straight into somewhere.
How far behind him are we?
You're outside of shouting distance, but you're probably about 20 foot.
And he's just stopped and he's just
He stopped and he just stares at the cave.
Does he look as though he's getting a weapon? I'm sort of thinking if someone stops and looks at a cave, a forbidding black hole, like, right, the dwarf that never stops for anything suddenly stops.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, exactly, like, and get out the axe and stop, like, is he looking as though he's getting prepared, or has he just stopped?
I'll get, is there any stones on the floor?
The snow's
beams,
up.
yeah.
You're literally.
I'll just take both axes out.
You see the axes come out.
We just muttering to ourselves. All right.
Here we go. Best we get tooled up in that case. So
Move closer.
Okay.
While looking at the cave entrance, see where the movement's been, if any.
So you can see that the up ahead, the cave has clearly been inhabited. There's been inhabitants there. You can see that the greenskins themselves aren't known for housekeeping by any means. So
that's an understatement, isn't it, really? Here we have this week's Good Living magazine. Lazros from the Black Orcs. Oh, I love what you've done with that head.
Feng Shui and that.
I like the way you've just pooed in the corner. It's wonderful.
It's awesome. You know that the icy wastes that the Black Mountains are, if things don't rot, and most smells coming from the goblin kind when they're in these environments are where, it's from defecation, it's from rotting meats and that sort of thing. So, looking up front, you can see that there's been no activity outside the cave.
Yeah.
But you were also aware that the snow could hide it within an hour.
Yeah.
If in a good snow drift, instant. But there is no evidence at all that anything has been outside this cave.
Head on in.
After a moment,
How far are we behind him?
if you haven't stopped, you could have caught up with him.
Oh, okay, then we wouldn't have stopped.
No, so as soon as we start getting all tooled up, we'll be like, all right, well, I guess we're heading in.
As you get to him,
He just carries on moving. It's like, so we didn't get a chance to go, what did you see? Is
just
there something
you're
you're
like, he's like immediately just takes a big stride. You're like,
So I'm still in the form of Grombrindal.
yep.
So I have my axe out, the great axe. So I'm moving closer.
You burn vitally needed energy to
keep up with him.
to bridge that gap.
Alright. I'm hoping he slows down.
One speed.
Nope. When you get to that point where he was, and then you make that extra sort of like extra energy. We've all been on those long hikes where that extra bit can make you feel like you know that you're spending something that's you could have you would have preferred to keep. That extra bit of energy there. But the cave, there's nothing about it at all that sticks out.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're not getting any. Obviously, he's getting Mr. Smelly's coming from. We're not getting any of that. It's just still a cave.
Yeah.
Are we at the cave, or are we still far enough away from it that? Okay, so how far are we away from the cave? I guess.
Again, at the point where he's stopped and as he moves forward, you are a good 15, 20 foot away.
Right. Okay. I'm walking in his footsteps, by the way, so I don't have to wade my way through it.
A lot easier. Yeah. You get to the cave mouth. Obviously, you can walk straight in there comfortably. As you step in, and the wind immediately, you're still howling and wailing right behind you, but you allow your eyes very quickly, which they do, to adjust to the darkness. You see the cave does go quite a way back. The ground is littered with the bones and chewed bones of goblins.
Yeah. Fresh?
No, nothing's about this is fresh at all.
Alright.
But the smell is still very much there.
Move.
This is also at this time of year, and at this height, you are somewhat put out, surprised. You don't know. There's in your mind, though, obviously these are not exactly your stomping grounds. You're surprised at them. It's likely enough. It goes through your head. It's likely enough that it could be a party that's been cut off.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then it could mean something far worse. This close to the pass.
Yeah. So, move on a little bit further.
So he just disappears the game. Oh, great.
You catch up and you see these bones along the littered around. Everything is frozen. Everything's solid and cold.
Do we recognise the bones?
You wouldn't.
No, just a series of bones.
Series of
humanoid bones. Nothing.
Humanoid.
It's not an animal. We're not seeing animal bones.
No, you're actually seeing specifically hip.
There's thigh bones.
Thigh,
Yeah,
sort
like,
of
oh,
thing.
right, okay.
Small in stature.
Right. Children. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
A large pile of eaten children. No, that's unexpected.
Do you recognise them as goblins or not?
No.
No.
It's
It's small.
small humanoids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not.
So
but
very
not.
quickly out of game, you have had a lot of interaction with the corrupted influence of Animal Man, the Beastman, and that sort of side of things. You know of the Greenskins, but have had little to no interactions. You, for example, have never fought them
Never
or
fought
seen them.
Right, okay.
You know of them, but would it necessarily be something that comes into your mind? It's up to yourself if you've got that in-depth knowledge to know the anatomy of these creatures.
Not unless I was ever involved with. Well, there's no incursions anymore, so it's not like there would be any need to. I'm aware of them, but probably just on rudimentary tablets and skins or something like. Oh, right, there's these green creatures. But I wouldn't have thought it's something that Caradak would have been intimately aware of, down to be able to go. Oh, yes, that's the thigh bone. Got me going now.
Stepping out of the howling wind, you step forward. You're moving. You don't have to crouch. Obviously, your axes are prepared. You can hear the sound of dripping water from runoff from the snows above. There is a natural warmth here compared to where you've been. The sheer wind factor is gone, and you can feel that sort of sting.
Is the stench factor now fully embraced?
Yeah.
Right.
You're walking a wall of stench.
Right. And does
Something somewhere is able to rot.
Right. Okay. That's what smells like rotten flesh.
Yeah.
Or
Definitely
food spoiled. That
Absolutely,
sort of stuff.
yeah.
It's not a midden. It doesn't smell like.
It's a mix. There is some in there. You can see the deposits.
Right.
But it is not something rotting.
And it's fresh.
Yes.
Well, as in it's current, and therefore doesn't quite in keeping with the fact there's a lot of clear bones. I mean, these bones haven't got bits of meat on them. They're like not in the process of rotting. They are bones.
Yeah, and they're close enough to the front that they're frozen.
Right. So these are actual bones. They will produce zero smell because they're bones, and yet this thing is stinky like they've just started.
Yeah.
Well, we're very worried about this now.
Have you seen anything like this before, Master Ulmakor?
No, this is.
What are we dealing with?
Unknown. I have no expertise in this area. I don't know what it is, but I am concerned that we've got this smell, and yet this is all polished.
And of course, Grim has his Tools out.
Well, whereas the dwarfs marched on, you think he would wait, but
Window.
Just have to bear with us a moment. Something just flipped up on the screen and the camera's froze, so I just need to make sure it is actually still recording.
No problem.
Just bear with us a moment. You can actually still talk within a, bear in mind, as long as I know what you're doing,
Yeah.
you could actually call them back.
and then we stabbed them in the eye, and it was the end.
How did they know this? Oh.
That was the end of the chaos.
Put the GM's notes away.
So,
And I
take this route,
drew forth the ring of power.
miss this bridge.
Who would have thought of Balrog all the way up here?
You send the hobbits.
Halflings, because of course there's no such thing as hobbits in Games Workshop. It's halflings.
Halflings.
Yeah. What do they look like? Well, small, scratches, hairy feet. Like,
Big feet.
halfling. Yeah.
Good chefs.
Yeah, that's all they're interested in. Right, very resistant to magic. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's not a halfling. No, because that would be copyright.
They're thieves.
They're called halflings.
Damn you. Nice guy, Grim.
Yeah, I know. There's one.
Yeah. Hope he knows what he's doing.
I imagine we're just too busy shivering going, no, alright, just carry on.
I'm getting the warmth as quick as possible.
Smelly warmth, sort of cloying, wet, moist warmth, like, ugh.
Better than cold.
Alright. Tweeting?
Nah.
Tweeting.
I'm not tweeting at all.
It's not on.
It's gone off.
There's no light.
We're all doomed.
It's gone off.
It's gone off. Quick, I'll just rifle through the Games Master's notes to make sure that it's still on. For no reason, I go to the left wall and touch a small rock. Slightly proud. Really, what is that? I just thought.
Look shiny.
Yeah, in the dark. You had your volume on.
Got a one view.
Close.
Are we live?
I hope so. We're just having some technical. Oh, the lights are back on. Lights!
The lights.
The plane!
Hello, everybody.
Caradak did it.
Sorry
I'll
for the
check
technical. That light went off.
It went off and then it came back on again.
Yeah, I had to reconfigure the camera to us for some reason. I think one of the drivers just crashed, but we're good.
We're good. We are back.
Yeah. We didn't read all your notes, so I'll just go to the side of the cave, pull the hat.
No way!
How did you know that? Oh, insightful. I am Ulmakor. Yeah. And sometimes I'm Caradak when I get confused. I am everyone.
Well, it depends if it's for the ladies.
Yeah.
Who is that? It's Caradak.
Really? Looks a bit older. Ah, okay.
Yeah, so you
Well, he's disappeared out in the inky gloom. Are you hanging around or have you gone?
I'd step forward, so
okay.
I
So
went further
you
in.
go-
So
you go
we get in the cave. Go. Oh, what's all that? And you're already up. You just carry on walking.
your eyes are able to adjust far quicker to the gloom than the humans anyway, and you can see that the cave doesn't go too far back. You can see that there is water running in from a unseen fissure in the cliff itself, from obviously runoff from the snows above. It gives it a natural water pool, which then soaks into the ground itself. You can see that some stones have been formed to give it a more of depth. As you are moving over the bones, you're doing the best you can. Actually, you wouldn't. You're crushing bones as you go.
Hobnail feet.
Your eyes adjust and you can see through the ragged, there's some ragged material, and you see some armour. You do find yourself, your knuckles whitening a bit, and you take a pause as you see the corpse, partly eaten, long dead, and obviously given into the cold around it, that of the larger cousin to the orc, the ones that were formed by the Far East. That's not Cathy, by the way, we're talking from your point of view, yeah? You know that these are the bigger, and it lies here. You can see that it's from the parts that haven't been chewed on, and it's a partially eaten body. You can see that multiple stab wounds. To bring not one of them is indicative of a killing blow. But also, You look around, you can see that the temperatures do not allow for blood spillage, and you do know that these creatures can effectively nest. The blood itself will actually can form spores, which can create more of the kind in a lesser degree.
We're all hearing this, but not hearing this going, what the hell? I've always liked snow, I'm going
It's a
outside.
black oak, effectively.
Yeah.
However, you can see lying against the back wall, emaciated, though still alive. You can see one of the hobgoblins, effectively.
Yeah.
The horrible creatures that are too cowardly to take command, but have got a higher intelligence. It doesn't seem to be injured in any way, but you've never seen it before, but you can see the stages of starvation. And it is still alive. You can see it breathing shallowly amongst its ribcage. Its skin is taut over its bones. Even with a feast nearby, it's seemingly so weak that it hasn't been able to continue.
Chop itself.
Right, yeah.
What was that?
He's not blinded for the
It sounded like I had
Oh, that's
decapitation of some sort.
It was like someone hitting the wall in a sort of a wet sound.
You step forward and you see this huge creature lying on the ground, partly consumed. Multiple stab wounds, massive, huge thing. Hugely muscular, around 6'5", maybe taller. Immensely muscular. Its bones that are visible, that's been chewed upon, are huge, weight-bearing. Looking at this creature, you can see that it would be a hell of a beast in combat.
And yet it's dead and being partially eaten.
Partially consumed. And you're walking back, you're at the end of the cave.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
We
You
should have done
wouldn't.
that.
No, it's like,
Careful.
would you burn the corpses if in case they spawn?
Temperatures
No.
don't allow for it, that's what I'm
No.
saying, is it's too cold up here.
Yeah, of course.
What are we dealing with here, Grim?
Grim, what is this?
Do us a favour, everyone, just bring your mics out. I can't tell which it is. We just had somebody come saying that there's heavy breathing on the mic.
It's probably me.
Darth Breather. No,
Darth Breather.
he owns this.
Yeah,
He does this on mics that are designed to hide mics. Yeah, he's known for
I'm
it
a
on
bit
Xbox.
bunged up, so it could be me. Okay, so let's start.
Just
do
take
the
it away
test.
from your nose. Put it out there. I've got all the gain up, so
Oh, okay.
just get it away from your nose. Cool. Right, yeah. So, what do you do?
Oh, point to the decapitated corpse.
Freshly.
You see...
Can you hear me all right?
It's decapitated. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I can see you're working fine.
Woo!
Yeah, so you step forward, you can see the body is lying down. It was starving. You can see the
Same
emaciated-
thing, the huge, same as a huge thing, or is it something different?
No, something that you've never seen before. So even as a sympathizer, you don't know, you've never seen this. Doesn't fit any description. So it might naturally look starved.
Right, this could be its normal, what, 3 foot tall, 5 foot tall, wiry, like obviously.
About 5.5 foot tall, webbed feet, long
Webbed
finger.
feet.
Yeah, long fingers. Its proportions are just seemingly elongated. Everything's long, gangly.
Right.
There's no bulk to it. Based on its head, and that, you know, of your knowledge of the biology of creatures, it would definitely have more, based on what you're looking at, more capable thought than the brutish-looking creatures.
Does it
that
look
you
as though
come
it's
across.
aquatic? Because it's got webbed feet? Does it look like it's got webbed hands? Does it look like it's
There is webbing. It's not fully. It's not
Right.
full. But you can see that there is webbing. It's got effectively flappy feet.
Oh, right, okay.
Thin heel moves out into a flayed shape, whereas the larger creature and the goblins, which you do know of, have more.
Okay, so is it wearing anything, or is it in hide? Is it like
Yep, it looked like it was the large creature on the ground was in partial armor.
Right.
You can see the remains of the armor that was removed, so it could be fed upon, but it was heavily armored, plate mail, effectively crude black looking metal. If the goblins were wearing anything, or the smaller creatures to the front, that could have been trodden into the ground over time. This thing seems to have actually been adorned with crude jewellery.
right, okay.
Nothing that gives off any sense. But you can see it had
glittery stuff? So
yeah.
like magpie type thing, like
Yeah.
well, you know. Right.
Whereas the others don't seemingly go
So-
for that.
Possibly higher status in my mind.
Yep.
Okay. And now dead. That's handy. What is this thing, Grim? What are we looking at?
The one I just decapitated? Call that hobgoblin.
And that's a term of that was a hobgoblin. Are these some sort of
Another form of the goblins.
just another form of goblins?
The one that's been chewed would class that as a black orc. The bigger brothers or cousins. More fierce than the orcs.
Is this likely the bones on this half chewed thing? Is this likely to come from the hobgoblin? Is the hobgoblin the sort of thing that would eat these things, or is this
I think we're more concerned what chew the big thing.
Chew the big thing. Like
Yeah.
how did do they travel together? These creatures, or are they separate? Could this be the same band, as it were?
Possible.
Is there too many questions?
No, it's
Just question. What is this? What is that there? Who is that? Who killed it?
Answer me!
they don't normally come up this high, so
What don't all three of them?
the whole lot
Right.
of them. So,
So they're not normally in snowbound areas,
well, not this high up.
right?
No.
Understanding that that they may have been selected. Are they cannibals? Would they eat each other?
Yes.
So the smaller bones that we're seeing, they could have been fed on by the bigger. But what killed?
How does this thing die? Is any?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about.
It
So
said
what,
small. We noticed this, the small wounds,
Yeah.
but that's not what killed it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what killed it.
Yeah, we literally succumbed to a
But it was multiple-
massive amount of stab wounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
So many that there was no way. It didn't look somewhat. It's frenzied, but it looked like just lots of things stabbing at it. And obviously, there's no evidence around it to say that.
there's no swords.
The
or anything-
hobgoblin.
There's nothing around here.
Yeah, there's crude weapons
Right.
and daggers and knives.
So
and
would that match?
bows.
Would that fit to say that these are the weapons and instruments that could have caused this damage?
So from your point of view, you're looking at it and going, right, well, this doesn't look like it fell,
Yeah.
the bigger one. So potentially it was asleep and it's been jumped upon and it's been attacked. However, the hobgoblin obviously was very clearly still alive. There is no evidence of these smaller creatures being alive after they were obviously fed upon at the front of the cave. So it doesn't seem to make sense that
These would have killed the big thing and then
went to the front and got eaten.
and then went to the front and been eaten by what? Unless it's the hobgoblin.
So there was some of them, based on what you can see, you would assume that some of them were killed and eaten, the weaker ones, as you say, at the front of the cave. They've went further back into the cave, which is where they're sleeping to get away from the cold. Something's missing, or some things.
Is this cave completely the full extent of it is?
Yep.
So it's just a random shelter cave, as it were. You know, it's not part of a complex. It doesn't go anywhere.
No.
It's just somewhere to hide out from. Have a look around. It's like were they here for a while, or are they just resting? Like does it look like they've been here? Have they made it there somewhere to camp out for, or is it just like we're doing, which is getting out of the wind?
It looks like that, yeah.
And
But it hasn't been in the last day or so. I mean, the bones at the front have been... Nothing's rotting because the temperature is so low. But there is nothing here. The smell of rotting is the partially rotting black oak near the back of the cave. But mainly the hobgoblin.
Oh, it stinks.
It stinks. The smell is horrendous.
Right. Is that normal for these things? Do they smell as bad as that all the time? Nice.
Do you speak their tongue?
No? I thought I did. Yeah.
What did it say?
Which means what in our language?
No, he did. What that means is,
They didn't get to speak.
yeah, he killed again
Ah,
without.
right.
Yeah, he's done that thing again.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Would there be are these hobgoblins? They're not up here normally.
Not up here normally.
So I wonder what he was doing.
How
If
far
only
away
we
is it
could speak to the dead.
Not doing that spell.
from the city. Or
Which one?
that one.
You're 3-4 hours under the current conditions.
Possible that they could have passed through Midhgal Vongalbarak. It's not a place that you would know about.
Not on my list of things.
Do we know this?
Yeah, like, no, never
No,
heard
we
of
do not. What is this
What
place?
is that? Is that a pass or?
It's a hold. One of ours that we've kept secret.
Which is no longer a secret.
Yeah, because now we
no,
know.
we've had no word from it.
Oh no! Ah, off the cliff.
There's been no communication from them. So we do not know what's happened.
Is it close to here? Is it?
3 or 4 hours.
Oh right, okay.
Is that where we're heading next?
That's where you'll find the Heavenstone.
Perfect. So the secret dwarf,
Arras
the secret dwarf hold that is lost communications, and it's recently and maybe surrounded by Mr. Smelly and his band of. Great. Well, that's where the Heavenstone is. That's where we're going to go. I don't think I want a shelter here, even though I probably need a shelter. Is the smell enough that can we put up with it? Or?
Yeah, you can.
All right. Well, how?
You probably want to turf the bodies out. Maybe,
Yeah, we'll do that.
just
We'll do some spring cleaning.
You're looking at the water a bit, but then again, you can easily take more snow from outside, but you don't know how deep. For all you know, that outside the entrance, under that snow and rotting corpses.
Oh my God! As the snow pulls back, holy heck! Dragons all sorts.
Curled up and snoozing.
So that's what happened.
With a Balrog on its back.
Just for you, even though it is a hole, but remember that Midhgal Vongalbarak is a watchtower over the, what it's watching.
Yeah. Watchtower, yeah.
So it is a hole per se, but it's more of a military watchtower. Just a few basic rooms, heavily fortified. One main room will be your food, your main eating area. There'll be a barracks. There'll be a couple of places, one maybe for the captain, but otherwise it is a tower effectively.
Okay.
Not a tower the way they would expect it though. Dwarf towers are different to human towers.
3 foot 6.
This is a
You trip
tower.
over it, you're like,
These shins.
You just stepped over the curtain wall. How do you do that? You just like, Behold the tower. Where? Oh, there.
In the ground.
they're all giant slayers. It gives you some concept now.
Yeah.
Giants as in? No. Oh, okay.
Straight out of Fraggle Rock, the little diggers. Oh, this went different. I wasn't expecting this. Oh, all right.
Being carried away by an army of them. Little ants. Ah! Save me.
Anyway,
Right.
so yes,
Yeah.
it's up to you if you want to throw the bodies out. Will they attract attention for any? You can't see anything up here being a natural predator this high up. Or at least not something that you'd want to run into anyway.
And plus, Mr. Stinky's going to put any natural predator way off that, and going to get some bear going. Slightly rotted.
No,
Very
it'll
rotted.
very quickly froze. The way that the snow, the way it's drifting, in about an hour the body will just be a lump, and then within 2 hours it'll be just hidden.
A trip hazard. The next ambush party from I stink.
Your HSC manager is going, no, you can't put that there. No. You got a permit? What's your risk assessment?
It's a completely trip hazard, and now someone's just fallen face first into a hobgoblin.
Into its arse. It's almost like they placed it that way.
Just purred.
Push his knees up. Yeah, there you go.
Right, there you go. A packet of snow. The trip there, and I can see it straight out of Sherlock. Dislocate, disbobbling, vomit. I'm blind.
Oh no, I haven't laughed for a while. Back of my head's hurting, it's cramping.
I thought you were going to say I just let go of my bowels. I haven't laughed in a while. I forgot.
Nobody told me when I was growing up that when I got to my 40s that my head would hurt when I laughed.
You don't laugh enough.
Obviously, you're just wired slightly different.
My laugh muscles are at the back of my head. Holy shit.
Use them for signaling.
When I laugh, I can't breathe underwater. What?
And my wings don't retract as well as they normally do.
Don't you have that problem?
Right, well, Is there a storm outside, or is it just we just need some rest? I mean,
So it's not an actual storm in the sense of it's bad conditions. The wind is pelting, the sleet is in your
But
face,
it's-
but it's not a storm,
it's just
which is
Wednesday.
actually the next level up.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
just oh, that's
Well, we'll throw the bodies out, get rid of them.
well, the two
The
stinky ones,
stinky ones, and we'll just rest. And
Is there any like having a poke around the stinky one with maybe just pick up a leg bone of one of the small ones to poke it? I don't really want to touch this thing. It's adorned with stuff, but is there anything else about it? Is it like marked? Is it got? Is there? It's not carrying anything. It's not got baggage. It's not.
So it does have pouches, specifically if you want a dagger and just sort of have that.
No. Well, yeah, have it like lift it through
Yeah.
and just see what.
It's so within the.
Because I'm trying to think that obviously Ulmakor's knowledge is based on Semathai knowledge of and Grim said that they're part of the goblin kind, so I do have some knowledge of the goblin kind, but they're very. My knowledge is that they're very tribal and almost basic
Yes.
hierarchies and structures.
Stronger they are, the higher they are.
And so, yeah, which is, doesn't lend itself for long chains of huge hierarchies of every big blokes punching each other to death. Going, I'm king, right? Oh no, I'm king. Well, it's not going to go. We're not going to build anything, guys. We need to build some sort of consensus.
A voting
A
system.
voting system. We can't just keep on doing this. Oh right, okay.
yeah, because that works well. as well.
just keep doing
Oh, we've got ourselves a reader.
Eat them. They're delicious. Ah.
They're the tangy ones.
So this hobgoblin, which I've never even heard of before.
No.
It seems like this is a high level of hierarchy. It would need it because it doesn't look as though there's something about it. It's weedy and flappy and doesn't look as though like the big thing in the half-eaten thing in armor looks like that would be more likely in this tribal society to be the dominant individual. This thing who's still alive and yet is adorned for students. I'm sensing a sort of like high value somehow. It's in a high value creature. And I'm just looking at it in that context, like, what is this? How does this fit in? This is like, it's a different. I don't know what it is. I've never come across it. I've got no knowledge, but it's a high value in a society that's dominated by brute strength, and it's not a brute strength individual. So I'm just having a poke around to see, like, what does that do? Like.
Well, basically where it is, you can see that around it, like I say, they're all weapons, crude serrated, heavy metal and iron. You can see bows of their kind, and these crude, thick, shafted arrows. But beside him specifically, that was obviously kept close, things that he would consider to be valuable to him. You notice amongst some coins, they are very flat discs. You can see they've got that sort of grim look. Immediately looking at it, you don't have to know what the value is to go, well, that's Dwarven. Mixed in with, there's some beads and bones and that sort of thing. But in doing so, you move the body, you can find what will be in your mind, no doubt, something that's clearly evidence of what you were looking for, is you can find a crude but still effective whip.
Whip?
Barbed many times over.
Oh,
sort of
okay,
thing.
that's interesting. Is this what they use on their own kind, or is this? I can't imagine taking a whip to that thing over there, the big lump of metal over there, and whipping them, unless you just want to be punched in the face. Do they? How does it work? Are these in charge? Are they the leaders?
Depends on the clan, probably. Because if all the ones that were eaten would probably be his ones that you would whip, unless the Black Orc was its bodyguard,
Right.
or he was the advisor for the Black Orc.
Okay. So
Depends on which.
so they can be advisors. So that they have
brute
might-
strength or intelligence. Either
cunning.
one
More,
could be
is
the.
it
the
cunning
leader.
or is it intellect? As in, are they thinkers or are they more just crafty? Like.
Probably more crafty.
Right.
For their kind.
Okay, so it could be this could be one complete party, and this, as you say, he could have been the leader, or he could have been the advisor to this.
Or they could have had a falling out, and it just gone.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, I guess we just need to hunker down. And are we planning? Was this plan stop, or just when we saw the cave, we were? Did you come here to investigate it, or you were coming here for a stop?
We were coming here first.
Okay. Well,
Because you seem to be affected by the cold quite a bit.
Yes, I am.
So you needed to warm up. But this cave was inhabited.
Right, okay, well, we'll chuck out the things that smell and drag out the big thing. Because I imagine we're going to chuck that anyway.
Right, well, that'll take, when you can
I just drag it up.
just drag it. Its weight is phenomenal. Even you realise even without the armour, this thing is huge. It's so dense. Its bone structure has to be like so to handle such muscular weight.
So,
it's overly developed in every
So
respect.
in my mind, I'm thinking like we're talking silverback gorilla type.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, to a chimp.
Right. Yeah.
This thing is effectively Urukai to
Yeah. No.
because we know that Games Workshop are always original.
They're black orcs. Clearly, that's not Urukai.
Yeah.
How dare you? How very dare you?
So you drag out all the bodies, basically.
Well, just the
Those two.
hobgoblin, and because the other ones are just bones, and that won't.
Yeah. So you throw them outside, go back in. There's a possibility that the water in the pool itself is corrupted, but this is not a natural. This is a natural forming basin, so the water doesn't fill up to a massive amount. It is run off from above. They've made some stones to make it a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know that
but
I'm particularly.
it soaks into the ground
I don't
anyway.
know if I'm particularly keen to be drinking where they've been drinking. I think if we want some, I mean, we've got no heat source, but in fact, so if we bring in
So in the past, he's able to, whether or not you feel comfortable doing so. You obviously have your flint and tinder, that sort of thing. Once he gets the ignition going, you know that you can facilitate it.
But is there anything else to burn other than?
Just what you can ask.
Right. Okay.
There is leather. There is some, there's
Combustibles,
some combustibles that we'll hear from the fall and the slain.
Oh, we should have burnt the hobgoblin. That would have been tremendous. I'm getting.
Never smelled again.
I'm getting notes of disgust. Everyone runs out.
Back to like, yeah, we'll just leave them to it.
Yeah, that's.
No, they're definitely over. They're done. Done for.
Yeah, no, it did survive. Right, well, we'll get some heat going. Let's get a heat source going at the far back of the cave, so it's not necessarily visible from. You'd have to be look straight at it to see that there's a light there. And let's get some heat going.
Yeah. And then Grim. First watch.
Oh,
Yeah.
He agreed.
apparently so. Yeah. Well, I guess he could have said no.
I did give him the option.
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah. I did pose that as a question.
You didn't say first watch. You didn't use the inflective. First
I'm
watch.
still working on the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just coming across as first watch. Oh, right, okay. Right. Okay. Well, we'll just settle down and go.
You coax the
We'll get some
flame
Yeah, we'll get some heat going and
to
just,
life.
and just get some heat going here and have a rest.
As has been the case, the fire gives off more heat than it should do with its mega food supply. And you do feel the warmth, maybe the walls around you reflected back. Do you go to the front of the mouth? The front of the mouth? The mouth of the cave?
Well, like, so far.
Then we
in front,
notice
yeah.
these stones that look like, oh my god, they did!
Yeah.
Are you going to wake them at any given time?
Is this storm meant to wink?
This lovely wet red bed that I'm sleeping on.
Well, what time of day is it? Since we came in?
It's around about midday. Heavily overcast.
Is the days shorter up here, or are we longer?
It's simply that you were just travelling when you could, and
Right.
wait and
So we were not,
rested when you could, so you travelled by day and night.
given the fact
Because you all can see in the dark.
is it just ultimately just that we can't work out what season it is because it's just
Yeah.
the cold season.
Yep. Cold and snowy season.
Yeah.
Probably end up doing the usual thing. 12 hours stint looking at note.
You wonder why you've slept in so long. Absolutely frozen, barely able to move. You've been lying on the cold floor for 12 hours. But of course, the Drengi don't give no shits. You're like,
Yeah. Be back.
you sort of prod. No, he's dead. Shit.
Did anyone know any chiropractic?
Snap. No, I keep till dark. So about
Well, you're one that's obviously, in most cases, not. You're taking them where they need to be. You're setting the pace. Nobody's getting any real rest. You rest the bones as opposed to the mind, but even then, it's just so bloody damn cold. So you get the fire up, you get the flame to remain against its wishes, but ultimately, you're not getting, a good night's sleep. It's just enough to try and get some energy back. You're on trail rations. As soon as you seem to get to your destination, the better. So I'm assuming you're just going to rest for a couple of hours.
Yeah, it's just a quick stop.
It's just we're not setting up camp and go, oh, let's go. If we did something like that, we just moved out of here, we could make us homely.
After a couple of hours, you know how we just work in this sort of environment. You wake them up. Again, you have a mild sort of surprise that the fire is still burning in the way it is, and giving off the heat it is. You wake. You don't want to step outside in this sort of temperature, but you do. You're gonna have to sort of like have a pee and that sort of thing. You get some water from the snow. You repack your water skins, and then you head out, travelling further east. Though you have only travelled, let's say, a few miles, a few hours, you know that you could easily eat up this sort of distance in any normal terrain, but it's so bad. As you come to, you're starting to notice certain points of the mountain range itself, which are very similar to your vision. You feel within you that you're getting close to your desired, your destination. Very much bright outside, and you look upon as you come through a sort of a pass as such, just between two gaps of two exactly the same looking peaks, and you look down upon an area ahead of you which has opened up. Mountains rise to the left and in the distance, but what you see before you is a pass. It seems to you just come across it, as it were, from your point of view. You knew you were coming upon it. And the pass travels throughout this entire mountain range. You know that it travels off to the south and much towards the Badlands, and where the great enemy of man is. And you look to the north, and you can almost visualise where the Reik basin is. The pass itself, however, as you look upon it, you can see where your imagination seemingly sees that the mountain is being hollowed out. A huge, gigantic, giant level archway seemingly arcs over the pass. You can see it's been carved in the likeness of stone, and with down the left and right hand side of it is dwarven visuals. So, the dwarven craftsmanship that you've seen depicting the guardians of the dwarf kind looking upon them. Huge swords are carved into the stone, and these are gargantuan. I mean, they're huge, bigger than anything man's made. The mountain itself, seemingly, like I say, it seems as if it's been carved out of a mountain, but the mountain itself has been hollowed out, has been removed, and you can see through this archway. You see it's more of a significant visual for the passage of this pass, that it's defended by the dwarves. At the base of the left side, where the
so is this more like a signpost, as in you're now entering the land of the, like that's so the impression being we're going through we're entering their lands. Yeah,
and you recognise it from the teachings of the Cenothi, that this is where the great migration of man came through. This is not this has been seen by the eyes of man before, a long time ago. As you look upon this archway, you're kind of on the side looking across this pass, and you look towards it, and you can see that it's just huge. It's massive, and whatever naturally formed this pass, this gap in the mountain range, which continues miles on the other side. Obviously, this whatever came through here, and it destroyed the mountain, and it left this archway, which has been carved into this motif, into this relief. And like I say, the archway is huge slabs, but it's carved into the stone as opposed to being genuinely an arch. It comes down on the other side of the pass, and it is carved into the dwarf visuals with these huge swords and scabbards, all these reliefs. What you can see at the base of this left side one, as the mountain comes down off the archways, you can see these stairs have been carved into the mountain, and they go towards a darkened doorway. You can't, and then that seems to be the rock itself. You can see the specific doorway is on the left-hand side. Again, very large,
How far we were? We're miles away from this thing, and we can still see a door.
Yeah.
So it's not so much of a door, more of a gate, more of a
Yes.
castle keep sort of gate.
Yep.
Not a like.
Now, from where the door is, and this mountain sort of comes down to the side, you can see that the mountain range goes up, and there's this huge tundra of white snow and massive blocks of stone that were carved originally from the mountain have collapsed, leaving this entrance. So whereas this entranceway and its huge magnificence, it boggles the mind that it could be barred against an invasion or attack, even if it could be, because bear in mind that there's that smaller door which is going to be huge when you get to it. But this wall, this fortification that was originally carved by the dwarves is gone, it's collapsed, whether it be through the ages or through something else. But you can see that this doorway will do nothing. It makes no difference. I mean, yes, it's a lot easier to walk through that, but any encroaching army can move around to the left. Now, this natural fortification, these huge blocks of rock and stone are noticeable in that, like a dead body of the fortifications that they once were, partially concealed by the snow. You can see a partial face of a Dwarven base carved out of stone. Yeah, ginormous. Dwarves are really huge.
Giant dwarf.
And this lies to the left-hand side, and you can see that anything that one, can move off to the left-hand side. But that the stairs lead to the the watchtower of Migdhal Vongalbarak.
What are we looking at, Grim? What is this?
This is Migdhal Vongalbarak, where you shall find the stone.
Inside this fortress?
It'll be in this area. So wherever you saw in the vision,
Right.
that's where the stone will be.
I hope the stone's large.
Yeah, stands out.
Like a little pebble. Oh my god!
Is this it? No. What about this one? No. This one? No.
So like I say, remember, there is this doorway with these carved stones, but this other archway. It is beyond. It is.
So I'm thinking again in terms of context of what we can think of is it's the Elendil in Isildur's features, the Aurora's Falls, standing and
Yes.
saying to the east you can't come through. This is about to enter Gondor.
Yeah, ridiculously large,
Yeah.
beyond any
Like,
scale.
what was the point
And that's
of
the door. This is this arch.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that there was huge timber doors on. Yeah, it was just this big arch, and then down the left-hand side you can see that there is these stone stairs that carve up and go into this other doorway. But you can see clearly through that, and you were always meant to be. But it is a gateway, a guardian, a gateway to the north, the plains from the butchered, terrible south. Yeah.
Do we know about the wall being down? Or is that something recent that we didn't know about? The dwarfs?
You don't know personally. It was
Not mentioned, yeah.
No.
Okay.
You're a bit shocked, but it could be from your golden age, thousands of years ago.
And how
It
does
could
he
be-
express?
it could be-
How does he express his shock? Is it just like one eyebrow?
You should go.
Yeah, like over it now.
Sundial? God, 29 more years.
Right. So, well, is this where we're heading to? Then should we head towards that door, or is that where you think it is, or?
I know that we were meant to be here.
In the
And
boy-
you and the priest that told me to meet you had a vision. I wasn't told whereabouts it would fall. All I know is it fall in this area.
The priest? What priest? Is this the first time I've heard the... What priest?
The priest of Gazul. One of the minor deities of the dwarfs.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Down.
So a priest of one of your gods told you that you would meet us and take us here.
Yes.
Right. All right. Well, we're big. Well, I
Preaching
don't.
his job.
I don't think. We're just the entrance of the valley, aren't we? We're not actually.
You're on the side of it, the way that he's brought you. Because one side would be what you know
So,
as the fabled place that the humans ran from,
Yeah.
and then the other end, which is the way you're physically looking, ends up at the Reik basin.
So I mean, in terms of my vision, I saw it landing in the mountains. I didn't see it landing in a particular spot, framed by a tree. It busts out. I just thought, oh, so I've got an entire valley to search for. Well, let's just head to the keep.
Let's just spread out.
Yeah, pick up any pebble.
We'll
and
head
ask
to the
them.
keep then.
Let's head to the keep. It it's a focal point. If anything was found, it may have been taken there, or I'm not going to go searching the valley. I mean, I don't even know what. Like, let's head that way. If someone's if the dwarves are still here or whatever, they may have found this stone, so they may have it. It may be their prized possession, in which case we might be in
They
trouble.
worship it as if it was a god. We need a god.
What's part of that? I've got this nice shiny hobgoblin ring. Ah!
Did you cut it out?
It's just like his ring.
Frozen, open sphincter.
Just,
What do you want to do with this? It looks
Slightly-
strangely familiar.
I need this for my experiment.
It's a sex toy. We'll call it a cock
As
ring.
Ulmakor disappears behind that rock. I just need a few minutes. Oh, it's like the real thing.
Oh,
It's the eternal alarm. You take your time, not wanting to get this close and to fall to your death, coming down the side of the valley. You end down in
Shit. I didn't realise that. Like, oh, okay.
climbing down onto into the pass itself. You head in a northerly direction towards this gateway effectively into the Reik basin. As you close on it's fairly protected as well, by the way. That once you step down out of the mountain range itself into the valley, you can feel, obviously you're protected from the wind. And though there is you can feel the valley wind coming through from the south and heading north. It's nothing like you've been experiencing the last few months.
Almost balmy.
Exactly. And you find yourself sweating quite quickly under your heavy cloaks. But again, it is only because you're so used to such the cold of the mountain range. As you close on the stones, you can feel your breath is literally catching in this sheer scale of the works that mankind has yet to manage to get really beyond basic fortifications to see this faded glory of the dwarf people, and the sheer scale is just. It's mesmerising.
And hoping these blocks lying all over the place just fell down out of neglect. And not... Oh, no, well, that's obviously damaged, like... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's... you can't see... You don't know what could possibly take a wall down like that. You don't have the knowledge of stonework and how the elements work or how on it, or how an engine of war, anything, basically it's beyond your knowledge. You get to the approach to the left-hand side that leads up and slightly to the left towards this doorway, and you note that apart from all the fallen stones and this big archway that leads on further in through the pass, and these stairs, you note that the door is missing. There is clearly no door on the left-hand side into the keep. That is very much not part of its design. Second, everything is flat. Everything is pretty much been either rubbed, by thousands of years of this wind coming through, whatever the natural. There's a glacier probably came through here, but it's everything has a certain uniform look to it. Something sticks out near the base of the stairs, a statue, effectively, whereas there is no other statues, and it's about dwarf height, and it is very distinctive. As is the fact that it also seems to be part of it. It's in the stairway near the base.
Do you have to walk around it as a matter
Yeah.
of just it's designed to get in your way when you're trying to walk up the
This
stairs?
doesn't make sense as you close on it.
Okay.
I've got my axes out.
Oh, God.
Shit.
Oh, he's doing the
Oh,
thing
the
again.
Right, okay.
door's not there. It's like, that shouldn't...
What's going on, Grim? What have you seen trouble?
No, I'm just expecting it.
Why?
As he approaches the stronghold of his people.
Yeah.
We haven't had communication with him in a while, so we don't know what's happened here. And the door's missing. That's not a good sign.
When you say missing, it's completely bereft, not on its hinges, as in not smashed or broken. It's just gone. Like someone's picked it up and went, "Oh, just go do some work on that."
You know that the doorways to places like this, where in past large hordes of enemies have come through, the engineering behind it is a huge amount of metal and brass, and metal is effectively over ancient timbers and that sort of thing. Gone. These doors, when broken into, they're designed not to shatter. They're not made of stone or timber per se. They are literally metal work is being poured into this. It's an engineering feat. They're gone.
Are the hinges like still
Gone.
there, or they're
Hinges
just
are gone.
clean?
There are literally gaps in the stone where.
Oh, so it hasn't looked like a meteorite's come.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. It looks as though it's been destroyed, gone, but it's still there. It's just someone's went, oh, I'm having that. Look at that. Ooh.
Okay, great axe out.
The dwarf that's in stone, is that different to the stairway?
So as you get to the, I mean, you're not what your expertise is.
Yeah, I know my
Yeah.
but
So-
different colouring.
Absolutely, yeah. You get close, or for all of you to see. This statue is definitely of dwarven dimensions, except for something very specifically different. Not only is it carved in such minute detail, well beyond the brutal carvings of the dwarf, whereas dwarves excel in the metalworking and jewellery, and they want to carve filigree, and they can have detail that is fantastic, but it's a certain look. The stonework, like the statues around, like the motifs are very just big, they've got a use to passing a message. This is carved almost with a fine hand of the
Lifelike.
like a jeweler level of, but within stonework. You don't know of anyone. You've never seen this.
What's facial features? Is it just normal or?
So apart from the finite detail, the facial features, this dwarf, this stone motif, is that of a dwarf, except the features are cruel. There's actually whoever carved it made a point of making it look cruel, whereas the dwarves tend to have in their carvings not put in an emotion. But the biggest part beyond this thing, the main thing that you see more, and you eventually realise, is it has two very large tusks coming out through its bottom lip that come up on either side of its nose. Its face, you realise, is a little more elongated. The dwarf, though, have a certain build and structure, are still very close. You can see there's a similarity even to mankind. The elves, even with their thinner, longer bodies, are still of a certain creation. This is bestial.
Is this more reminiscent of what we see in the forests when we're...
So you know that you've come across the mutations of man and beast. This could easily be between dwarf and beast.
Right.
But it is still very dwarven.
Yeah,
But its face is a little bit more elongated to take on board these extra tusks that come up either side of the mouth.
And with our knowledge of the dwarf, we know that that's not a normal... There aren't a dwarf tribe that's got tusks.
Not that you know of.
Is this normal? Is this what
No,
I'm not asking you.
no.
Yeah,
This is not normal.
I get that.
But whoever carved this, carved it with such skill as to literally give this air of hate and malice.
And it's not in keeping with the rest of it. It's like completely out of place, like it's been put... And does it look like it's been there for a while?
Check us. Critiquing the artist.
It's wrong.
This seems
It's
wrong.
part of the stone of the steps.
It's been placed there. It's not like stood on top. It's a freestanding... It's not carved into the steps.
No.
It's a freestanding
It's a
statue
different stone.
on a different plinth.
Absolutely. It's not on a plinth. It's
It could have
Standing
been
on the stairs.
originally lifelike turned to stone.
Oh, could have been good.
That's what I'm thinking.
the armour is different to dwarven armour. Its dimensions, the way it looks. They're pointed. You can see that there's every bit of quality in the armour carving as if the armour was real. But there's everything about it. It strokes. It looks just... It's not dwarven armour that you've ever seen. No matter how far back you've went.
Yeah.
It's far more ornate. But I suppose, effectively, it's the difference between that's a belt and that's a bondage strap.
Interesting.
That's a leash and that's a chain.
Worry that's where you went for your comparison.
Couldn't think of any way to clearly indicate.
Well, it made sense.
You could have went, that's an armoured belt. That's not.
Yeah, that's a finely
No,
tooled belt.
you
That's
can't-
just something you buy
no.
from the shop.
It just doesn't have
Nope.
the same effect.
It's a bondage strap because
Yeah.
now I'm
Bondage strap.
desperately trying to think. I can't even picture what I'm trying to think.
Are the dark elves here?
The dwarves are, we've already identified as that they're all square, and that's their armour. It's durable, it's designed. There's nothing really ornate, and they might have things exactly. This has got, it's highly functional, the carving, but it's also just vicious.
Right, okay.
Like only a dark, twisted mind would carve or craft such armour. Whoop whoop. The weird thing is, nobody else can hear that. They just think, whoop whoop. Is that going to do with anything?
What? Ken likes to rock
Carry on.
out when he's in a...
Walk on up then.
We let him.
We were.
Because that's not how it works, have we?
That's the thing. It bites. I'll just be the other end of the valley.
You climb up the stairs. Are you following them up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll follow.
After a good look at this thing, like,
You get through into the front area. You know that the entranceway of these forts is normally carved with the very, it'll be with Grimnia and Grumni and Valia, the ancestor gods, and it's very much, they're carved in the dwarven fashion, which is that it'll be, the arms will just be a slight elbow in there, but it's like old Saxon. In the sense of everything's just, there's the head, the shoulders, and then everything's carved inside.
Yeah.
And that one leads on. And it's carved out of the living rock, out of the mountain rock itself. You know that the first part of this is a killing ground. If the occupants were under attack, it's a place that if the first door was to fall, they would come into an area which is carved out of the ancestor gods, but ultimately leads to another door.
Yeah.
You step forward, and as you step in, you look down, and it is littered with the dead of dwarf and goblin alike. You can see the spears, the thick arrows of the goblin kind. Dwarves have fallen. The armour and weapons have just been left. Their bodies and corpses are just littered. A huge battle has been.
They don't look like the dwarf that's outside.
No.
No, so they look like the. Yeah. Okay.
Stone is visible, but all metals are missing. Straight away you see plate mail, the scones from the brackets in the wall, the doorway, the next one along, which is smaller, far deeper, and more compact as a final defence into the main watchtower, is also being removed.
the weapons still around, so there's still arrowheads.
Arrowheads are, well, the arrows are still within bodies
From
where they can still
both
hold
the
within
bodies?
armour.
Oh, that's
Yes,
what-
they've been stripped of metal.
So there's just no metal of any sort around anywhere.
A clear sign of battle has been, and the dwarves were overrun, that they decided to stand within this area and fight is indicative that they considered that if the first door goes, that its normal defence wouldn't amount to anything, and therefore for some reason they've come forward. Normally this type of fighting is we are going to fall, give every moment we can for the watchtowers to be burned, for the messages to be sent, because we will not survive what's coming. You know that it leads into a square room of uniform size and shape where the guards would have fed. It's standard contingent, and you have no reason to think would have been any less. Would have been 60 warriors.
Yeah, just thinking back to the dwarf on the steps, was it similar to dwarven like style, like the techniques, but as you said, it was evil?
Nope.
No.
Nothing about it was, except the fact it was obviously clearly a dwarf. The armour, the look, the carving, what it was trying to portray, none of that is normal. You've never seen the like of it before.
Okay.
Dwarf masons do not spend that much time on any dwarven statue. You can clearly see as you stand in this doorway at an obvious battlefield, the dwarf and goblins side by side, and Black Orc. There's been, the dwarfs had a terrible toll. They died to a man by the looks of it, and the dead are everywhere. But you can see the carvings of a normal dwarf. You remember them from Caradak. You grew up with them. Nothing about this.
Is this dead fresh or is it old? What?
Months at most.
Well, we'll best go in the hole and see what else is it's missing. Maybe.
Do we know? Oh, do I know which way is up to the signal
Listen, I've
towers?
never been here before, but you know what I mean.
So basically, you go to the next room itself. It's a main square. Off of that, you will have a square door staircase that will lead up into the main tower. You will have the captain's office and quarters. You'll have to the left, because they're all the standard. So basically, you'd come in like this. That leads up to the tower. You'll have the captain's quarters and bed, sleeping area. You'll have the main barracks and sleeping. This is the food. You'll have kitchens, but it's all pretty much, that's the room and everything off of it. You step over the dead. The battle was ferocious, and you can see that as you step forward into the next room, it has been cleared of everything.
No.
That and timber, there's nothing. The whole place is
and
brushed,
and
clean.
the dwarves are not in their armour anymore now. They're all
Definitely,
being stripped.
Yeah.
Any sense of them being eaten?
No.
And that's what we saw in the cave. That they tend to eat things. Is it normal for them to leave falling like this, or do they?
It's not normal for them to take the timber and the metal.
And it's
You
not,
can see the creature, the orcs and the black orcs, the goblins.
This
are
is something
innermost.
different.
right, but that they leave their dead anyways, do they?
So as you step forward, no doubt you find out. You can see that the timber, the metal have all been removed. Each doorway is darkened. To the right, you know that it leads up to a staircase again. Everything's been removed. Everything from tapestries, furnishings, you name it. You know where the kitchens are, that sort of thing. One, you can feel a draft leading to what would be the barrack room, left corner of this square. This hasn't been sort of swept clean as like some kind of let's clear this place up. It's just everything has been, that wood, metal has been removed. There is no bodies in here, but you can see that there was definitely fighting based on the staining on the floors, etc. But again, of course, at this point, you're in the mountain, and there is light filtering in from the stairway outside, but your eyes are looking into this gloom around you. Even the scones have been removed from the walls. In the main corridor where you came from, there was stone. Here you can see where they've been pulled from the stone, damaging the bracket where it was pinned in. But you can feel a breeze where there should be no breeze. This place isn't. Dwarves don't need windows.
Mm-hmm. Go to that. Find where the breeze is coming from.
He goes to step to the side, then stops. He looks to a doorway in the left corner, stalks across towards it.
He's picked our dressed.
Yeah, just
Right over, follow.
trips after them as it were. Yeah.
You step into the barrack room. You know that the barrack room itself would have been able to house the vast majority of the soldiers, with a few of the ranking people, or potentially somebody of a particular family would have their own quarters levied off. You know that the bunk is, in most cases where possible, been carved from stone, with mattresses put in there, but the odd very well crafted timbered bed would have been here in the centre. They're gone. They're obviously the carving shelves. So when you step in here, you'll see what appears to be these shelves carved into the stone. That's not what gets your attention. In the back of the chamber, you can see where the perfectly carved stone floor has been broken up. Debris has been piled up. You can see this broken stone leading to a hole. And from it, you can hear the faint sound of king, 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 king.
Digging.
More like
Hammering. But it's rhythmic. It doesn't wait a beat. It doesn't lose a beat. It's not the hammering of somebody hammering, but you can hear
Drumming.
king, king, but it's metal on metal.
So it's more like drumming as opposed to.
So
the
like banging
the
or
cadence
something.
is just banging.
Yeah,
Right.
but deep and brass and heavy.
You said when it's broken up and everything, is it broken up to go down,
Yes.
or is it broken to come out?
So someone
down, yeah.
smashed the flagstones up
Yes.
so they can get access to the soil
Yeah.
and the bedrock, and then they've dug a hole. How
Yeah.
big's this hole?
Big
Like
enough for
white-
you to
white.
walk through.
Walk
Can we
through.
walk?
Well, you'd walk down into it.
Oh, it's ramped.
Yeah.
It's okay. Sorry, I
Oh,
thought you meant like
yeah.
No, like at an angle.
Oh, okay. So
As you close
So-
on it to look down, you
Looking
can
at-
see.
is there another
the
one
flicker.
coming?
No.
like a mine type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And as you get close to it and look down, you can see the very faint, based on how far away, flickering of light.
And other than the hammering, is there any other sounds of talking or voices or nothing to understand what it is that's down there?
Nothing.
There's a light down there, you said, yeah?
Yes.
Let's go and have a look. No, this isn't normal.
Well, clearly not. But do the do the goblinoids around these parts, do they dig holes like this? Is this something that they would do after they've had a victory? Okay.
Is there any claw marks or anything in here? No?
Not that you can see.
Is there a smell?
Yes.
Is the smell
it's-
from the dead, or is it the same as that hobgoblin type smell?
It smells like sulphur.
Oh, like rotten eggs.
Yeah. I should have went with rotten eggs. With hindsight.
Usually that's how people describe sulphur. Smells like sulphur. I think we need to be a bit more stealthy, Grim. I think Caradak's probably best place to be more stealthy.
You
Take a peek.
Gromendal. Unless you can change.
You know I can change. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's,
At this time. Are you
a
capable
small
of changing
elephant.
at this
Where'd
time?
that come from? Girlfriend?
yes. I'm able to change.
Oh, right at this time.
Right at this time.
Oh.
So it's just a matter of putting this right here. And change. And it doesn't change.
Which is what I was asking.
I've broke it.
Ding, 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 ding. So, just got a bit of dust on it. Yeah,
How long was it since you changed last time?
doesn't matter. You
Just got
discovered.
the vision of, I don't know why, horse with a big long head and like with a buttercup around his head. Oh, wait a minute, this is not normal. Try that again. Should you be blue?
Yeah, Caradak stands before him.
Are you ready?
You can see I was born ready. I can see that through. I was born ready.
Oh, yeah, what? You just ruined it.
No. I need a moment. Limb us up a bit.
Yeah. It's just doing some stretch.
So I'm okay. Do I feel instant like, oh my god, I'm ill?
I'm
I'm blue.
I'm ill.
Oh, I'm so depressed.
I'm blue.
Da-da-dee.
The thing downstairs comes out and kills you just because.
Die!
Not that.
I hate Eiffel 65.
Because I wasn't expecting you to do that. I'm going to quickly write this. You feel fantastic.
Do I
No,
actually?
it's-
Yeah?
Oh.
walks the other way.
Yeah. I'm going home.
Wow, that feels great.
See ya.
I'll make my way down. Stealth. But stealth.
I thought you were writing the scene. Like, just like.
And see.
Turn back.
You step down into...
I feel amazing.
he says to himself for no apparent reason, I feel amazing!
I feel.
And you're like, that's not how I would expect you to feel.
Start there, just go. I feel gorgeous. Oh,
I must say, Master Ulmakor,
I'll work out.
it seems to be working.
What seems to be working?
The blowjobs.
So that's how you train them.
It's easier to get flies with honey. Flies with honey than vinegar, don't you know? Just the. Then it look coyly and grim.
I thought it was normal treatment. He said he was trying to suck the poison out.
It's a special seventh-line technique. It instills gravitas and it will help with your spirit, although you will feel hungry afterwards.
You know when you get caught off guard with something?
It's milk in the flesh.
Taking away the poison.
Yes.
Aye.
Me? A seventh eye?
Well, it seems to be wink at me.
In a dwarven code? Whatever were they thinking
It would
of?
be rude not to.
Steady on there, chaps. I'm going in dry.
Brace.
I thought that was a defensive command. Could be. Brace! Brace!
Are we getting rammed? Manner of speaking.
Why you got his pants down? That's not... What's wrong with it?
For science.
Ah, so that's how the Sympathai fight.
One of the Victoria feared.
It's almost as if the taint has gone.
The taint. Oh no, it's going to...
I feel so Greek.
You're feeling none of the ill effects of the injury?
None. Yet.
Yet. Yeah. 2 seconds later.
I shall go and investigate.
Yes. Be
Follow
solid.
after you. Stealthily.
What, the large, unstealthy dwarf's going to follow after the live...
Yeah, this type defeats the
The
entire purpose of this.
purpose, like, I'll help. Croon, croon, croon. Oh, I'm being so stealthy for a large, unstealthy dwarf.
I'll time it with the bangs.
And hopefully on your toes like this.
So I make my way down.
You're making your way down.
Yeah.
Are you following? With each footfall, no matter how quiet and stealthily you are with the bangs, the stones that he loose with his big footfall rumbles past you. Each step is the same. It's not a fabricated tunnel. This is bored out of the earth. And with each step, his weight is just so much that it just disturbs the ground underneath. And they pass you by. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone at the other end will just simply, for no apparent reason, to see these. But you are absolutely silent. He doesn't give up sound. He is moving with the sound of the ding, ding,
Of a large footfall that's...
But the stone that he lets go, the debris goes ahead of you. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Well, there goes my stealth. It's okay, anyone down there. Those
Yeah,
rolling stones
move
are
past 'em.
totally me. It's all fine. We are but friends.
I'm at the top of the...
We mean you
I'm
no
at the top
harm.
of the thing going, what?
They don't know we're coming! I think they might know! Well, they don't know it's three of us!
What do you know? Oh, arse!
They think this through!
I see his look and I'll walk past him. Make sure.
After you.
Go on.
You step out, as you come down through the tunnel itself, it opens up into a natural cave system. These caves are, obviously at this point, as you are well aware, that
I'll head down after all this ruckus like...
Sorry. But it's a natural forming cave system. Before you get here, you could feel heat. You feel the heat of furnaces. You know what they're like. And you come down, and the glow, the light is from a distance. Even as you come out into this natural plateau, you are within the mountain itself. But what it is the heat is coming from literally a river of lava.
I see a £50,000 dragon.
Hi.
Tick, tick, tick. Come on then, Drengy.
I'm starting small and working my way up.
I had another oath that I had to fulfill first.
I have to kill badgers first.
Gotta lumber up to that one.
And a swan. I quite think they can break your arm, you know.
You eventually you
I
just
get
come
down there and it's like lava. Lots of...
lava.
Have I seen lava before? Or any concept of what's going on?
Possible. But it shouldn't be here, as far as you're...
It's not volcanic around here.
No. Not in,
Where's
so the
it
Black
coming-
Mountains. The Black Mountains are, the Black Mountains were, but the volcanoes have been
Gone.
gone.
It's the
dead.
But because of the cataclysm.
So,
Still could-
but where's this flowing from though?
It
This
seemed like you're looking down. It's like basically looking down at this river of
Scum
lava
past,
where it's
yeah.
visible. It's not a clear river. Just you can see parts of it are visible. It's going beneath you, and that's where the heat is coming from. Even though it is lava, it's obviously not giving off a huge amount of light. What is giving off the light is all these scones. You can see these brands, big bits of timber have been staked into it
It's
and on
been
fire.
nicked from. Oh.
And they don't give off the black, fetid smell of human whale blubber. These are from oil. This is dwarven oil. It doesn't give off the black cloud. The smoke. It doesn't give off the smell. It is reconstructed. But what is different, again, aside from that, as you can see, metal has been crafted into pipes, and they connect all these braziers to give off this light, natural forming light. You step over, well, as you're stepping through and you're looking at this, and this is a marvel of technology. This is technology that mankind has never even got close to thinking about creating or inventing. That this oil is being pumped so that there's a supply. When you are, there's no rails, there's no evidence of any there's no creatures. This is solid rock and stone. There's no way to track. You find yourself walking along and looking at these big caverns within the wall itself, and it goes on in multiple directions. You look down because you can hear that, even though it's echoing around you, there's a more solid pitch coming from a certain direction. You look down and you see what appears to be iron ball, a cage in the shape of a ball-like effect. It's not perfect. It's not a spherical ball, but it's spherical, and it is sitting between two supported brackets. And one of the brackets is worn away, and this thing is rotating around this cage, spherical cage. It's obviously on two axles. The one on the left is kind of warped, and the bong is basically this. As the axle is turning, it's catching off either side. You can see that the stone is cracked where the brace for this is. In the centre, hovering, is a pale white light. Too bright to stare at for too long, and you can see these baleful energies are being pumped towards this cage, and it's rotating, but it's starting to come loose on one side. It's not spinning really fast, but it is rotating as if trying to keep this power within the centre, and it's working its way loose on the right side, and that's what's giving off the clang sound. There is no visible people. There's no goblinoids or anything like that. You can see a carved out of the stone as well, fresh, away down to the platform.
So what's turning this? There's a thing in the middle, which is fixed, it's not moving.
Yep.
And then this cage, this spherical cage, is spinning around it on axles, one of which is slipped slightly.
So they're solid axles.
Yeah.
Presumably something's inside is coming up into it and it's rotating it. It's a mechanical thing. But the problem is, you can recognise what you're looking at. You have no idea because you haven't. Mankind is not developed enough to go. Well, all you can see from what you see is magic, as opposed to technology. Potentially, it's the lava flow is being used to generate something. You don't know what you're looking at though.
And this thing in the centre, this
From your point of view, you would look at that and think, well, perhaps whatever that is, it's hovering. It is absolutely incredible, bright white. Light, like a captured sun almost. Potentially, that's what's causing the cage to rotate.
Right. This is not the stone that I'm searching for that looks like that. This is.
It looks very much like that is the stone.
That could be the stone, right? And there's nothing else around here.
No.
Oh, lucky, we grabbed that.
Is it safe?
Am I sensing anything other than the heat from the lava and the light from the... There's no presence here, there's no...
Can you sense magic?
Well, I can. But
You can't.
apparently I can't.
You can't sense what that light is, but you've never seen anything as pure. It's just very similar to the visual you saw of this.
Right.
The
Do
white
they have
light.
any of like those goggles or anything in this area? So like if you had a look at it, you could look at what the light is. No?
You're up in a raised area for a start anyway, but there is no workstation.
Any sign of there's been a fight down here? Any sign of... No sign of any of the instruments we used to dig this thing? Or it's just literally, it's just turned up an earthen ramp down into a hole, and this thing's spinning around, covered by... And it's got a load of braziers that have been linked together by tubes. And there's light coming out of all these braziers, giving off a heat.
So this isn't like I say. This is vaults. This is going off. There's so much more to be seen than you can see from where you are.
Okay. There's vaults. So this is this Dwarven made? Or does it look like...
No, it's naturally formed, but in the sense of description, it's vaulted. It's
right. Okay.
It's natural formed.
There's more
cavern.
fissures and
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it?
It's massive, isn't it?
You send the stairs walking.
Yeah, you can get down there from probably.
This is the stone. This is the heaven stone.
It appears to be the heaven stone. It's what was in my vision.
Do we?
I didn't expect it to be like this.
And we just simply.
What's this thing? Do you know what this thing is that's turning around it? Do you have any idea what it is? Is that something that you'd be aware of?
Not
No.
my.
Is it Dwarven?
Oh, it's Dwarven, yeah.
It looks Dwarven manufactured Dwarven, but just wrong.
But what it does, we have no idea what it does. And
No.
is that the banging it's made? Is that because it's something's failed? It's not designed.
Yes, yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
Right, well, let's get down there. Then.
Walking down the stairs.
You walk down the stairs, obviously, cautiously in the sense of you don't have to be cautious going down the stairs. They are well carved. It's a comfortable walk, but you're listening.
More tentative, yeah.
You get before this thing, and it is literally just. You realise that it's just this. It's bronze and iron. It's all you can see. It's been riveted, and it's spherical in shape. And this, on closer inspection, you can see that there's light. This thing, when you do get closer, you can see the vague outline of something more natural, like a rock, bulled out of, it's not something that's been carved, and it is giving off this light. And you can just perceptibly see it as it's giving this stuff off, this light off. But you can see that it's suspended.
Bye.
It's just hovering.
Right, and I'm not sensing anything that's aligned with that.
No.
I was going to say, is it? But then I wouldn't know about the term and the phrase. I was going to just use something from physics. I was going, is that magnetism?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah,
I was
has
like,
that been like helped out, whatever? That's why.
what's this metal do?
Is other than the ironwork we're seeing, are we seeing like obviously the things in the walls are? Is that what we suspect? Is it the stuff that's been taken away from upstairs and it's been brought down here,
Absolutely, yes.
including the big? Because he described there'd be some sort of big door. And is there a door thing?
Yep. There's a that the door itself could have been smelted down.
Yeah.
And that there is enough metal here involved with this, because this contraption not small. It is, you're standing before it. It is fabricated from the metal around you. Yeah, it could easily be so. When you get closer, you note that it is carved. It is a form of runic, but one that is truly ancient and seemingly unreadable by you, except for one word, which you're reading through it, you're looking through it, and you see the rune for Hashut, and you know that to be the fallen god, the god of the so-called Draz Jar, which are effectively fire dwarfs.
Say that names.
Midhgal,
Physical.
Draz, Zar,
Draz. Draz what?
Zar.
Zar.
You don't obviously, so you might say this because you won't know what other word it would be. But if you want to translate it for them, if you do say that out loud, then you would say it translates in your language as fire dwarfs. So these are dwarfs that at the time of the ancestor gods, one who went north through the World's Edge Mountains and got to the top. When the dwarfs went west, these ones went east and were cut off by the first Great Chaos incursion, and they basically rule, according to legend, in the Darklands, and they stopped worshipping the ancestor gods and started worshipping the dark blood god, fire god, of Hashut. But this is tall tales to you. But you know the sign for Hashut.
When I'm looking at the other runes, it's not like giving me any weird.
No. So it is very much a dark god. Blood magic and sacrifice. It's basically out of game. It's what dwarves do when they convert to chaos.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a dark dwarf?
Fire dwarves. There's no such thing as dark dwarves.
But for some reason I knew the man.
They were always called chaos dwarves and dark
That's it,
dwarves.
chaos dwarfs.
But that's not actually the real term for them. It's
Fire
fire,
dwarf.
believe it or not, it's fire dwarves. But they don't know any of this, and you do now. But it's up to you what you say, of course.
So you're just staring at.
I mean, is it like a gyroscope type thing? Is that how it's spinning around this central thing?
Potentially could. Again, though, you don't know how to
I don't know,
how any of this works. But at the moment, it is just rotating.
That's what I'm saying.
over.
But I mean, not asking you if it is a gyroscope, but just in my mind, is it moving around like it was a gyroscope? Does it like Is it just a single? Is it like a tombola, round, 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 or is it going in like a gyroscope where it's stabilised?
So it's like a tombola.
Right. Is there a way? Is it been? Is the cage got an entrance to it? Like, can I see there's a like?
So again, so imagine it's basically these big metal, bigger than you, big metal supports, solid. Yeah. It's then got these big rods that come out, and then the ball is around it, and it's hovering in the centre. Yeah. But the visibility of the rods is negligible because it is effectively engineered so that the ball is right up against the stanchion, is up against the supports. But obviously something's gone wrong here, so as it's rotating, it's going so it's doing that.
How big's the stone?
If your eyes aren't lying to you, the stone is about that big.
Right. How
And
big?
it's jagged like rock
And
as
how big?
opposed to.
And how big is this ball?
The ball is it's about
How is this room in terms of diameter?
just under. So about say about diameter or radius diameter. Diameter would be about diameter is in fact 17 foot.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
So we've got to go inside the ball to get the rock. Or
There's no way into the ball. That's what I was asking. Is there a door in the ball?
It's not moving slowly. This is like
Oh right, okay,
yeah.
it is moving fast.
So yeah, without no matter what, if you want to get that out, you're gonna have to stop this thing.
okay, so we need to stop the mechanism. Whatever.
Just
Yeah, okay.
following like, where it's connected to, see if it goes up to like a shut-off valve or anything.
No, it's coming out of the ground.
Coming out the ground.
Yeah. Hence why you were like, I think it's been literally powered by.
Yeah.
You don't know how because you're not an engineer. Powered by the lava itself. And again, though you haven't mentioned it, as far as you're aware, there's no lava rivers in the Black Mountains. This close to the surface. Because bear in mind, you only went down about 20 odd foot at an angle.
How thick are the supports?
Feet across. I mean, you can climb up onto it. You're pretty much comfortable that if you get trapped in that, it's going to rip you to bits. You're not going to survive. If you get stuck, I'll just put my hand in, it's going to rip your arm off, probably drag you in and kill you instantly. It's a moving piece of machinery that's just, like I say, you have no words in your language to even form what the hell you're looking at.
Is there any way we can stop this magic with your magic?
Oh, it's powered by the lava, which is underneath.
What's its purpose? I mean, maybe you're saying it's powered, but what's the spinning to serve?
Probably to stop you from getting the stone.
Oh right, so it's a defence.
It is. The stone's within the sphere, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's a good defence.
Well, it doesn't mean that's what it is. It just means it's difficult to get to. But is it doing anything other than?
I wouldn't know. Not my expertise. This is more, I think you would call it engineering.
They wouldn't at all.
They wouldn't.
What?
They wouldn't.
What did he just say?
You don't call it
Yeah.
the Engineering Guild.
And we call it engineering.
They're not that far away yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oopsies. We call it engineering. But this is not from our kind. It's more...
I mean, you know how the ball's been made?
Yeah.
Because you can do that bit, but you don't know how it's been
Powered.
and made to turn. That wouldn't be your thing. You would just craft what was needed and then would be given over to the Engineers Guild. Clan, whatever.
The side that's failed. How much has it failed by? Like, can that be? I'm just saying, if we're going to stop this thing, do we just knock it off its hinge? Be the easiest way.
You can
Could
see
do,
basically that whether it's a fail in the metal, in the structure of the metal, or in the engineering of the metal, the fabrication of it, whatever the terms you want to use, you can't tell
All alien.
how it's failed. You're going to see that there is a actual distinct crack in the housing. The metal is formed, it's warped, and you can see there's actually a crack that's ran through the metal.
So can we work on that? So if we look at layman's terms, can we just work on the damaging it more?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just
Yeah.
like
Look at it if it was made of wood, and this was a water wheel, And you can see where, put it in those terms, you can see that that's where it would have to be repaired. The water would have to be locked, and they would take out the timber out of it, and then they can reform it. And so, forgetting it's metal, if it's based on the simple physics that you do know of wood, then absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to work on, because I don't know any other way of getting it to stop. But wait a minute,
How do we act?
it's made of metal, isn't it? We can't exactly start chopping it.
No, but if you're able to get some lava on it.
Get some lava on it? What are you thinking? You're going to... Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just... I was thinking able to get a container.
Container?
A container.
A container for lava?
Well, that's what power in it. I'm hoping we could. Then, or you can either... If you're able to make the metal cold, make it fracture more.
He's been watching too much Superman.
He's like, I have no idea what. Right, well, I don't have anything to pick up molten rock without.
How do we access the damage pit? Do we have to climb up?
Yeah.
And that we can do.
Easily.
Right. So I'm going to climb up.
Okay.
I'm going to transform into Gromandal because he's got the strength, and just give it a good old whack.
So we'll just get this right.
What are you whacking?
You're gonna whack
the side, the
ball,
not the ball,
the metal,
not the ball, because
The stress bit.
Axe is good. Bits of it all over there.
It's not completely indestructible. Turns out they lied.
Shit.
no, the side.
So you're starting.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit.
Hit down.
You're gonna hit the metal.
The part that's damaged, not the spinning.
No, but it's on metal, isn't it? So
the bit that's cracked.
Yeah.
I can see the damage.
Yeah, the ball's in the centre of it.
Yeah, but it's all metal.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. You're going to hit metal with metal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's an axe, not really damage bashing.
No.
Is it? No.
No, that's what I'm saying. We need to pry at it because we
Yeah.
can't chop at it because it's not wood. And I wouldn't like to be hitting
Is
metal on
any-
metal because it's likely just to damage you.
Oh, so we're going to fashion a crowbar.
Basically, we're looking for a lever of some sort. Because we don't have a hammer. I guess there's nothing around. Nothing that can be found. There's no handy scaffold pull.
Why couldn't you be a hammer?
Damn! Oh, Warhammer for a reason. Why is it an axe?
War axe.
Still an axe. Shit. I'm just waiting for him to catch the cable.
With his comedy tail.
Monkey tail.
Get down.
Get down.
Down.
There you go. Look at that.
There you go.
I mean, there's rock and stone all
Yeah, I
around.
was thinking.
From your point of view, the Estos are very cleanly. You know, if they make something, they don't leave their tool hanging around.
Yeah.
But this doesn't look like any Dwarven township you've ever seen. So, the only real thing is it's the natural stone and rock around. That all metals have been used in the creation of this. And that nothing about this is natural or anything. Well, you don't know what it means, what it does, what it's been done, why it's been created. Because clearly the rock has been brought down here.
Yeah.
There was no, so you can't look up and go, there's a big ass hole.
Yeah, that's
and I
where
can
it
see
came
the
through.
sky. Okay. I still don't know what they're doing, but that's where it came from. There's nothing. There was no.
They haven't found it down
indication
yet.
it
They
came
brought it
from.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought it close to this. But again, you're unaware of any any lava rivers. But now that you've identified Hashut, the fire dwarfs, they are, based on the legends and all that sort of stuff. Is anything to do with why were they called fire dwarfs?
Oh, yeah.
Irony.
Yeah.
They could probably control the lava.
So I'm up here. How do we stop this?
That is the question. There's nothing.
There's no big boulders I can hit off it.
Yeah, you can throw rocks into it.
No, I'll throw rocks in it. Not into it. not at
You're going to
it.
use it as a hammer, basically.
Yeah.
A hammer on the...
Was it a rock?
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to throw it into the mechanism.
No.
No, you're saying there's because every now and then,
Out comes shrapnel.
every now and then there's a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what's the bang?
It's out of its housing on the side where it's cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm noticing the damage,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm going to hit. Use the stone big boulders as a hammer.
Unless you put the stone in there and let it smack and break itself.
Or wedge it in.
Well, how often is the bang?
Well, it's moving far faster than the banging would indicate, or maybe you're just hearing every 100th bang.
Yeah.
It's like
Maybe it's
ching, ching,
already
ching,
deaf. It's
ching.
the memory of bangs. Because actually, we've got tinnitus now, and they're like, all again.
Try that, yeah.
So I'll just use it as a hammer to hit off the side where it's already damaged. That's what I'm doing.
So you pick up a
Pick up these boulders. If I'll carry it up in a sack or whatever, I'm back and
climb up onto the top,
mm,
and you basically
use it as a hammer.
obviously you're up here and you're just smashing it down
Yeah.
on the weakened area.
Yeah.
Okay. Just as he's climbing up, just a second. You're standing on. Imagine that's got the ball in the middle. It's slightly like that. You're standing on that, and you're going to smash it and jump up and down and break it and break it and break it.
I'm not standing on it. I'm standing on the
Yeah,
pillar.
No, it is in the pillar. It's all within the pillar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
all, and you're going to break this rapidly moving, spinning thing while standing on it and smashing it, so that what happens then? It falls off and.
Well, no, is a pillar dug into the ground?
Yes.
Is it a foundation? So it's strong. It's fixed. So I'm hoping. I'm hoping
Over
it just comes
over
down.
a river of lava.
Yeah.
So if it breaks, it'll just drop straight through into the river.
So if it breaks, it will hit. Likely enough, then obviously immediately rip itself to pieces, and destroy the ground, and randomly go somewhere. There's no way for you to know because it'll hit the ground and go, "Whoa," and it'll move, and it could easily go in the river. It could throw itself up into again. You don't know how fast this metal will turn. Either way, it's going to turn into a big ball of shrapnel. As soon as that comes off its mooring, it's going to hit the ground. It's going to destroy itself, but it's going to tear up the ground as it's doing so. Whatever's it's going to end up somewhere.
Is there anything in this, anywhere in this chamber other than this? This is the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's more. Like I say, this is a vast underground area. This is all that you can see.
Is the lights going off elsewhere? To suggest?
Yes. They're all over. It's basically been designed so that it is a large underground cavern. There was obviously, from what you see, it was far grander than is needed. Almost like it's unfinished.
If we break this, it's as we've discussed, as we thought about it, it's just going to careen all over the place. And we've now got a high-speed death ball flying around in a cavern where we're in it and unlikely to be able to outrun it if it heads in our direction. Or alternatively, it may just go plop straight in the lava. And, and that's why the world ended.
Crap.
And somewhere in the dark, out in the inky gloom, something laughs. You're like,
But first goes, ooh!
yeah,
Oh! Didn't see that coming.
yeah.
You can't use your magic.
I can, but what are we going to try and do? Like, I mean, I know what we can try, but what I mean is, I destabilize this thing.
Slow down.
So I can destabilize it. I know I can do that. I can work on that metal, but you're asking me to discharge all the energy that's in that thing.
Yes.
Yes. No, because it's got to go somewhere. And if I'm trying to use my will to compensate against the energy, well, it's got to go somewhere.
He's going to invent the word kinetic.
Yeah. And it's mainly going to cause possibly a prolapse of astronomical proportions. Like, oh, that's more than a follow through.
Can you see the tube that's powering it?
No.
No.
Very likely, now that you think about it, it could be in these pivotal points.
And
That's even worse.
so that means they could be
So
full of lava.
that way, yeah.
So he goes, can anyone see where the lava... Because I suspect the lava's powering this. Can you see where it's going in? Whoa!
What?
It's starting to go!
Just a second. I'm nearly going to do.
Stop!
I'm suddenly getting flashbacks of a guy called Rhino.
Melted. Here it goes!
That's going to sting momentarily before he caught fire.
So do we have fate points in this?
You're using them like candy.
Like Pez.
Yeah, every clang is me fate
Okay,
point
I
gone. 1 fate gone, 2 fate points.
It's nearly gone. 3 fate points. You've got no more. It's going now.
What about my fate points? Hello?
Do the structures, the supports, do they feel any heat come from any of them?
No.
No.
Because I'm going to go and have
Bastards!
It's like they did it on purpose. I'm going to have a look around one of these. Like, I'm not going to disappear off from the caverns, but I'm thinking there must be more to it than this. Like, what's else in the caverns? Like, nearby? Is there anything else? Want to go and look?
You're moving along. These you take days and weeks, no doubt. Just jump up and get yourself. It could take days or weeks, if not longer. These
Oh,
go
yeah,
on
no,
forever.
I mean, I don't want to, like, sort of... I just want to, like... And it turns out there's a big working levers. Oh, look, it's just around the corner. Crap. Off.
You instinctively, we'll say, maybe directed by Tal.
Dad.
Yep. You head upstream, as it were, and you start sensing a corruption magic.
Right.
It's corruption to you. It's magic to those that are aligned to it. Passing through an area where you can see that the lava, like I say, the lava's visible in parts. It's not like you're standing on the side of a river, so don't get that, get out the sense of you're standing on a bank. And you find yourself in an area where there is more metal, brass and bronze apparently, what it looks like, but it's heavily, heavily carved with runic symbols that you don't recognise. And you can see that they form what appear to be a large, heavy-looking dam, instead of being, of course, of timber. And looking upon it, you can see that if you could work, replacing the metal in your mind's eye with wood, and see if they could be lowered, it will stop the lava coming through. The lava flow has been unnaturally, you should say, directed in this way.
Right.
And that you're in an area where that lava's welling up. You travel further through another arched, outcome natural formed rock, and you find literally it is welled up into a pool and that it flows out, and that it can be, based on what you're looking at, if you can work out how to do it, that can be trapped, and that the lava itself will stop flowing.
Well, that's what we need to do then, guys.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
It's not there. You also note another of the dwarven statues.
And is it of a similar...
Yes.
And is it the same person? Or
Just subtly enough different, as in the sense of,
it's
they don't all look the same, but it's a different.
and the same creepiness?
Absolutely, yeah.
And where's it standing?
He's off to. It's off to one side from where the main.
it's probably what Mercedes do with their engines.
You can see
the
his armour
engineer's
is
side.
less ornate.
This is the engineer.
His tusks slightly smaller, but very much of the same crafter. That lifelike, and the malign sort of crafting that was put into it to give it that sort of menacing look. It's from the same carver, no doubt.
Right. Well, I'll go back into the main chamber and relay what I've just seen, and also, come and have a look, guys. I think this might be where we can stop that thing from spinning via here. What's your thoughts?
Well, we
Get down from there.
I'll get down from there.
Stop hitting it. Just one last one. No.
Mummy.
Go that way.
Yeah, so you see the same thing. You've seen these sort of done, but it's normally done with water and steam. You've never seen it done before. There's no shadow of a doubt in your mind that the runes, again, they're all seemingly a dedication to Hashut, is giving this metal an ability to withstand the lava. The pooling of it is being now that you can see it, has been dwarf made. It's crafted as such. You're all aware, of course, of the name of the pass above you. So there's always a hint that potentially lava ran through this mountain range.
No, yeah, that passed. Yeah.
And that it is, it's been unstoppable, it's been delved, it's been dug deep. It has been mined, and only dwarves can. But you also, if you're right in thinking that the followers that should, the fire dwarves never did the mining themselves. They had an ever, yeah. But based on what you're looking at, yeah, you believe that this could be used. You could lower the.
Is there any levers or anything? Is it more than one?
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. How many of them are all going? Which directions are they?
So you've got basically you've got an area where there seems to be a load of levers. There's some big brass buttons and that sort of thing. You are not in any way a steam engineer.
No.
And it is all.
Oh, great.
It's all to you.
Same as us, we're like,
You're like, what's this? And you're going, well, I know what it is, but I don't know how to control it. So he's another step forward, but also not.
I'm looking for the red button.
right, if this...
This could either stop it or flood the chamber.
yeah, so I was thinking, what's the next one? It's like, if he really, like that, decrease the flow or increase the flow. If there's an increasing flow, how do we get out of here? Are we like standing on the wrong side going, oh, that wouldn't be a good idea?
As long as you can outrun it,
No.
you can get back up the way you came. But then eventually it will work its way up. The chamber's huge and vaulting. It's not naturally forming. It's only a matter of time. There is something keeping it flowing.
Yeah.
Because lava cools. But
But-
it's been delved, it's been dug, it's been mined.
But if it
and
increases
these
the flow,
rooms-
it might increase the speed of the
Yeah.
thing, which might work itself because it'll.
Well, we want to stop it. We don't want it to explode forward, bouncing around and then disappear down a hole. The whole point is we want to stop it so it just goes, stops. Not.
I take it you're still in the main chamber.
No, I follow.
Oh, you've all gone in
Yeah, yeah, because you said come and have a look at this, so I follow.
Come on, have a look at this.
So
Oh, what's that?
I'll-
So if you can just stop it, as opposed to accelerating it, you give you a stern-cast eye, you know.
Yeah, like a 50-50 chance of one of them happening.
You get the impression he doesn't know how percentages work.
Yeah.
Looking at several levers. There's more than two.
But it's a
Well,
50-50
one, it's going to
chance.
stop. One, it's going to go.
Each lever is 50-50. I don't think you understand how percentages work.
I was going 50-50.
1 in 6.
Oh, just.
Are you going to press that lever 6,000 times and work out what I mean?
No. Red button. No.
You must cut the yellow away.
It's colourblind.
Brass button.
Oh, well, okay, so maybe we'll go wait at the top of the ramp while he presses the button.
yeah, you let us know when it's done.
It's like, right, okay.
Have a look.
But does he explain these fire dwarf concept? I know you're talking about it.
He hasn't I've let him see
oh,
a
okay.
single thing about it yet.
Okay, so explain how this works. Maybe we can help.
Yeah.
It's not my expertise. I don't know how they work this stuff. I know how to make the casing that it's in, but I don't know what each lever in that does. Do you understand his magic?
Yes,
Oh.
I understand it hurts.
It hurts the
Well,
knuckles.
this will hurt if it goes wrong.
How not to make it go wrong. See, I've learned that.
What are these? There's more of these. There's another one of these statues. Is there any significance to this thing being down here as well?
They could be Viscal Drazar, as we call them. As it translates, it'll be fire dwarfs.
And what are they? What's the significance of these statues? Are these normally carved where they work, or what is there a significance to these statues? And their
Not that I know.
positions, the locations, the one outside the front door, and then this one.
Not that I know of.
They're very lifelike. They're normally carved, such lifelike.
That's why I was thinking they could have been turned to stone.
By what?
Basilisk. A creature that can turn things into stone.
So
I
I'm
don't
looking
know.
around now going,
Oh, you go,
be
yeah.
magic.
duck roll and cover. Jump out. Quick.
Or the magic.
The magic can turn something to stone.
Well,
I don't know. It's
Oh,
not
right. It's a random number generator.
Oh, they turn to stone like-
Dwarves just go, it could be this, or it could be that. It's like, do you know what it is? Nope.
Well, like you're saying, unlike you've seen the bas relief of the dwarf carving, is what it's normally like. It's all like that, sort of very
blocky,
basic.
yeah.
These actually have limbs. They do, they are.
Or it could almost be something that had been turned to stone as opposed to an incredibly detailed.
None of them seem to go. None of them. They're all like, oh, they're fucking angry and grim looking.
Oh, I was really so close to being top of my game.
Yeah, but they are not solid stone such as they are. The carving is such of a level.
And they're not on a plinth; they're just on their feet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Again, giving more credence to the fact that it may be that they've.
Or something's occurred that's turned them into that petrified state.
maybe it's a stone.
Could be.
So we should be. Right. What are we doing? How do we stop this
Pull a lever.
flow? Pull a lever. I think that one. Which one do you think?
I'm going to push over one of the statues.
Okay. So you're saying that these.
Does he break?
Yes. Well, he sees.
Meanwhile,
the carver has gone into great detail of being able to carve something from the inside out
Right.
with layers of skin and bone. As you look at a cross piece and go, don't know anyone that could carve a rock
Internally.
outwards.
Or indeed, why they would bother.
Yeah. So they carved bone, then laid it with more rock,
Yeah.
then carved the next layer, and there's a dermal layer, and there's a rib cage.
Okay, so it's. I now of the much more of the opinion this was alive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
okay.
So the other thing is, obviously, you get caught up with everything that's going on. So the main thing is that Tal said that you want to go there.
Well, I'm here now. Go on, Dad. What's going on now?
And you have a particular, being said there as the demigod that you are, and you have a particular set of skills that nobody else generally has. You're very good at a certain set of skills. So with that in mind, remember how we discussed how you are a proto version of, or the power that you wield is a proto version of what in time the elves will teach and what
Yeah,
mankind
winds.
will master. You don't see it as that, and you never
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
You see it as a more personal.
There's sprites and stuff like. Yeah. Is there any others knocking around?
Well, yeah, you're in the land of the living, so I mean, clearly it has got a hell of a lot of fire, in that sort of sense. But there's also another thing, when you consider is where it's come from, what it's like, what's its name. You know of the various different elements and how they're controlled and how they are manipulated. But you need to put yourself in that sight. You need to go forward. You don't even have to think about the fact that the fire is very much in ascendancy and very much alive. But walking back through the chamber, almost Columbo-like, just letting a thought take you. You look upon the heaven stone, and you see, obviously light, and you can see air is incredibly powerful for being so far under the earth. You can see that in itself it is pure power, but around it dancing and frolicking and thoroughly enjoying
having a
themselves.
great time. There's a lot of
Several more powerful of the fire kind dance upon your shoulder and
Bernie. Now you
the
got our
closer you
attention.
get it.
so we could maybe that's what, use it to stop it or slow it or pick it up off its. I need to get it out.
Nothing, bear in mind that anything crafted by man or dwarf is never going to be as powerful as that created by nature and its elements.
No.
You have elemental power.
Yeah, we need to evacuate here. I don't think it's going to be a good place. We need to. Is it on is the ball on a rod?
Yeah.
But as soon as I break that ball,
Unless
I'm
you're able
concerned-
to cool the lava.
Hmm?
Unless you can cool the lava.
yeah, but the lava's been pumped up, so it's me against the centre
Yeah,
of the
but
earth.
if you're
Yeah.
cooling the lava,
Even you're not that friendly with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
spirits.
it's like I'm not doing that for you. Oh, right, come on.
Can you not lower the stones to stop the flow
The
of the
barrier.
lava?
Like,
The
so-
barrier.
Oh, right, okay. That's,
I mean, ultimately, yes, but as you've said, you just don't know how. There is a way.
No,
without a
like
shadow of a doubt.
with your magic, Master Ulmakor, are you able to manipulate the stone?
Well, it would, these are stone blocks that are independent. Like they're just. So I could just
Big
bring.
four massive teeth, but you can sense that it's because this is the place that you actually sense the magic. This is whatever this Hashut, who is a god apparently of an entire subspecies of
I've never
dwarf.
heard of before.
This is something that you've never come across, and how close is he to his people? You know, you have talked on a regular basis to Tal.
Yeah,
Does Hashut talk? Does he take a umbrance? Will he show up?
yeah. Whoa.
Oh, we'll find out.
So the one thing is, especially when your dad is a god, is that you respect and trust it, that all gods exist.
Yes.
And this is a god of an entire people. So you've got to be respectful of that, shadow of a doubt. Ultimately, you just don't know what'll happen.
No, I don't.
You could collapse the...
I could try the blocks, but everyone get out. Let's do this from a distance, because if this goes badly wrong, out. And then the stone just disappears in the centre of the. And we move on, and we never talk of this ever again.
Tell everyone we've got a better idea.
Yeah. Just head away to faraway lands and just never talk of it ever again. And that's why there's no something like.
Because they went off to talk to the lizard people.
It's like, oh, you did what? Oh, that set off a time motion. This planet's going to go bang. We're going to get in our spaceships and go. What? Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna persuade the sylphs of air. I'm gonna see them dash around and encourage them to bring down those blocks to block the flow. I need to sit down for this, so I need to be a certain distance away, but within visual sight.
So the strongest, where the stronger spirits are, and all the massive amounts of smaller ones, is around the heaven stone itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other spirits in themselves. You know, the earth has Gaia.
Yeah.
So potentially the more docile, lumbering earth spirits would be more.
Oh, right, rather than the air ones.
Yeah, because the air are specifically having a whale of a time around the stone.
No, we're going to give them a good chance. Come over here. Bugger off. But I'm your... No, you're not. I could have... No. All right, well, we'll try with the... so there's earth spirits around as well.
Absolutely.
There's a subterranean. Right. We'll see. I'll ask and cajole them to see if they want to move that block for fun, shits and giggles.
What about crushing the pipe? That's
Well, I don't really want to damage the active lava flow.
the pipe that's underneath.
What pipe is underneath?
That's powering.
You can't see a pipe. It's on it's on. I don't know where the mechanism is. All we've got is a ball spinning around that.
Mm.
Yeah, but where's this pipe?
No, I'm just wondering if you can communicate with them. If
The
they would
pipes?
build, no, the earth spirits. That you
Hello,
talked about.
pipe spirits.
Pipes of peas.
I thought you were going with pipes.
So what?
You said you can communicate with the spirit.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. But I
Would
don't
they be
understand
able
the
to sense or see where the pipes? If there's pipes underneath, that's taking the geothermal energy from the earth.
Whoa,
And spinning it.
geothermal. Whoa,
So,
steady on.
but again, you're constricting it. This is like in my mind, I'm thinking there's an energy forcing stuff that's causing that to spin, and my solution is rather than cut off the energy, is to nip the pipe, or you're saying like like.
That's just a suggestion.
I'm thinking that if I wanted to stop a water wheel, I'd just turn off the water. I wouldn't jam something into where the water's coming out, so like until the the bellows are just going like the pump will just give out, and then we'll be getting sprayed with hot. I'm thinking more just stop the power.
Whichever's easier.
I don't know about that.
Because the other thing is, as you're all well aware, is you don't know what the hell was being done here.
No, I haven't a clue. I don't know.
What is the point of this? What is it? What is it?
What does it do?
So, yeah.
Other than the fact I want it, I needs it. So on that level, should we have a bit more of a skirt around and just see if we can find out what the hell this thing's doing before we shut it off? Because this is the thing that's actually the heart valve of the entire planet. Bleep. Oh, you took it out. What? No. Did you
Well,
find
if
it?
you had a vision of this stone,
I had a vision of it landing, that was it.
Mm.
Didn't have a vision of it
But for some reason, this stone's meant to be key to something.
Yeah.
If your gods had a vision, would their gods not have a
Well,
vision?
absolutely, but I don't know what they've done because my god didn't tell me to stick it in a ball and a gyroscope or.
Yeah, but their gods have said, make it so they can't get it.
I'm thinking we just pass on another stone to the king. It'd be a whole lot easier.
Oh, I thought it'd been stronger than that. Yeah. I can't do anything with it.
The legend was based on.
Oh, when he hits it, it explodes. You go, what did you do?
Oh my god! Oh, we're doomed! Oh my god!
The great Kingsmith's like, so he passes off another stone. Yeah, look what I made with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Dink. I kind of broke. What did you do? I Kings and turn like, oh, on you, Sigma.
Let's never talk of this ever again.
You give him a pull.
Legend made from a toilet. Piece of a toilet. Assistant from a toilet. Yeah, that ball there. Here you go, mate.
Yeah. Wow! Look at this. It's so a bit smelly.
Waffle steam.
Oh,
The truth behind the
what you
legend.
were going to do.
Yeah,
Block
I'm
the
just saying. I
lava.
just want to cut the power off, stop it from spinning. That way, it just depowers itself. However, what's it doing? And when we stop it from doing, it's like that keeps back the horde of Balrogs. Oh, right, okay. Bugger, should we go and have a look around? We've only been at one level, haven't we? Let's before I turn this off because I don't know what it is, and because then when it's come off, like and it goes. How do we get into it exactly? By chopping through the metal to get the stone.
We don't know until it
I
stops.
thought it was see-through.
It's only see-through because it's spinning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be like
It's a cage.
cage. So depending on how big the
It's a
cage
lattice
is,
work of metal.
you can't really
didn't
tell
them.
because it's spinning.
You can, because you can see the metal and how it looks, because you're a metal worker extraordinaire, 140 years of skill. They can't. They're going, that shit's just hovering in midair between these two pillars.
So how wide's the gaps between them?
Really not,
No,
suppose-
if it was stopped.
Yeah, you could reach it.
Just reach in, get it.
If it stopped,
Oh.
Stopped.
How quick was
Oh,
it?
wasn't that quick? See? Arm straight in and out. It wasn't.
let's try the blades.
I'm going to have a lie down now. Right. Should we just let's have a moocher's round. Let's find out who's put this in here. Let's go and find out if there's not an entire tribe of
Who puts it here?
an entire
That guy.
fire dwarf tribe all upstairs having lunch. Like, oh,
Well, lads, back to work.
oh, this is going to go really wrong. Yeah, that's it.
Ah, looks like Larry went last. That's not... Do we have a Drengi with us? Must have.
What's wrong with this one?
Apprentice-
Oh, that's hideous.
Oh, this one's really tall.
Apprenticeship scheme.
That's new. Right, well, I'll leave you to it. I mean, leave you with it. I mean, we'll leave it there. Wait a second, if the GM runs away, how bad is this going to
Oh,
be?
Jesus, I'm going to go now. He
In the distance, boom!
jumps in the car.
And we leave the game
Kid,
there.
kid.
Forever. Because that's how wrong it went.
We're definitely leaving there.
Next week, RuneQuest.
It's such a shame you killed the hobgoblin.
We didn't kill the hobgoblin. Someone went, oh, look at
He had
that.
the key, didn't he?
Yes,
He knew everything.
he knew it all.
Just stick this
There's
in
5
there,
dwarfs there.
turn this there. Oh no, just go in there, pull this lever.
What are
and
we
it's
doing?
totally
Go and sit
fine.
near the door. We're like, chop.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, for me it was trying the best to make this thing a non-threat. So, you know, the furthest from your mind should have been to kill it, and it was like, slash victim. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally.
No, it's just last time when I
The fight has
said,
left
could I
it.
get one?
Yeah, exactly. It's a death door. Oh,
understand their
good.
language, so for some reason
That's an easy
I
kill.
don't understand it.
So you can't. So there's a difference. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
that's
you
why I
don't-
killed him because I wasn't.
So there's a difference between them not talking your language
And you chopping their heads off.
and
No, it's
you
just
not
I didn't
talking theirs.
understand it. I speak dogs.
Dog tongue.
Yeah.
So you could talk a version of it. So they've got multiple different languages, but ultimately you could talk or communicate. The fact is that they can also have an ability to speak ours. That's the other thing. But yeah, so aye.
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 Well, that went well.
We'll get back into the swing of things.
I just realised there's been on a camera. Was that a camera shot?
No, not until you leant really far back.
All right.
Right now, it's just you with some hands coming out your face
Yeah.
because you've went really far forward. Lucky enough, you didn't also block. Never anyway.
All right.
Yeah, you're like that most of the time.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so obviously I'll let this go on a little bit longer. Apologies, because he's going to go. What time? I'm just looking at like.
That's me divorced.
But we had to quickly get through. So yeah, you got to
She
the
works quick. Got
dwarf
an email
fort.
already.
Hopefully you'll get to have a look at the video and have a look at the new backdrops that have been showing up since we've been.
Oh
doing
yeah.
this.
Oh, there's a ruins. Ruins.
Runes.
Full of rules.
Mordor.
I really can't be here.
I didn't realise myself till then, which is when he saw us do that with my hands. I was like, oh shit, that's much later than it should be.
Yeah,
I didn't even see the time. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for
Thanks,
watching,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cut it short.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. We'll run.
Tomorrow, we're here for a chat. We hope that the whole pod meeting is just for us to talk and interact with anybody that comes on. So please come on tomorrow. We're saying 9:30 GMT.
9:30 GMT.
Till late.
So we've exhausted
Lots of
everything.
chat to be had, fun to be had.
And I've had so much sugary coffee
I
that I'm
want
flying
some
past.
coffee.
Coffee.
Let's sit down with the lads and have some coffee.
And we'll discuss
And
everything and
discuss
anything.
the world,
The
life.
game, not the game.
Unless you want to.
I wouldn't. Yeah. And then next Thursday, so you'll see on the
Ask
Twitch
questions
page.
regarding said ball device and how to stop it.
any advice?
Any
Any
ideas?
advice? Maybe we should do. Have you got viewers? Do you have any advice on we can
What
stop
the hell
this?
do we get out of this?
You know when the last time when you had a spinning ball of death, what did you do with it? Yeah.
Put my
Because
hand
we
in
have
it.
no idea. We're at a loss.
Right.
So yeah, well, thanks very much, everybody. Take care. Good night, and see you tomorrow.
9:30.
Thank you very much.
So yeah.